It's April 15th, and that equals taxes in Texas. The deadline here, 500 miles away. NASCAR on Fox welcomes you to just north of Dallas in Fort Worth, where over 200,000 fans will watch America's best drivers go 200 miles an hour. This track labeled Big and Bad could be the speed bump on the way to the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. And it's at the Hollywood Hotel trackside at the Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway, with our Great American driver and crew chief, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. Hope you all enjoyed your Easter break. Nice to be back with you. And for the drivers, too, the first of 14 straight weekends of racing. What are we going to see today?
Well, I think today the guys say they're back to normal, so we'll see what that means. It's not always a good thing.
Normal?
Nothing normal, because a lot of these drivers right now, at least down to the bottom of the top 35, they're running scared now, Chris. Guys like Casey Kane, Casey Mears, they've got to get up on a wheel today.
All right, it was scary with the weather, too. The weather great today, sunny, high in the 60s, but Friday, tornadoes touched down nearby, creating heavy rains. Qualifying canceled. The top starters set by this year's owner points. That's why Jeff Gordon on the pole for today alongside Jeff Burton. Meanwhile, Michael Waltrip did not qualify for today's race, but that's the least of his problems. The two-time Daytona 500 winner charged with reckless driving and failure to report an accident that took place last Saturday morning at 2 a.m. Michael was not seriously injured in the one-car wreck. Later said he was embarrassed. I know NASCAR met with Michael. Of course, Darrell, he's your brother. Have you talked to him? Is he doing okay? And what's the future look like for him?
I just think what Michael's finally figuring out is it's difficult to be the owner and the driver. A driver has responsibilities. An owner has responsibilities. I think he's taken on too big a suitcase for one man to carry. And his organization's a little thin, and he realizes that, and that's where they've got to do some work back at the house.
They got to make some changes.
Back at the house.
They got to make some changes.
Meanwhile, people still talking about the race, the dramatic finish at Martinsville last weekend. That's where Hendrick teammates Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson finished first and second for the sixth time. Jimmy's won the last three showdowns, and these two, they make a great team, especially when it comes to that game, capture the flag.
I'm not going to wreck a guy to win a race.
He wants me to move him, so boss, you better give me the okay, because, that's always going to happen.
Well, I wanted to be on the bottom, and if you wanted the outside, there's plenty of room up.
14 to go, buddy. Go get that 48. Don't worry about that 5. If he's going to run me like that, he's giving me no choice. Get that win. Woo! What a race. All right, guys. Sorry. That was my hero. I just beat there. Might have him off, but I don't care. I've dreamed of beating that dude here on this track in a heads-up battle. Awesome job, boys. Awesome job.
All right, some compelling conversation joined trackside by both Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson together as they get ready for the race. Hey, I want you both to answer this question, but Jeff, we're going to let you go first this time. There was talk of disharmony after that finish in Martinsville. Is that accurate? Is everything cool?
No, not at all. You know what? When the heat of the moment is on, there aren't two more fierce competitors out there than me and Jimmy. And the fact that I didn't wreck him showed the respect that I have for him and for our teammates out there. And so I know that Jimmy's going to race me hard. He didn't do anything wrong. He ran that race perfectly, and we didn't have the car to do it. I was more upset that we didn't win the race because I felt like we've had several cars capable of winning this year, and I was just mad that we didn't win. I wasn't mad at Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy J, it's DW. What was it like coming down there at the end of the race, racing your hero? I mean, I know what that felt like back in the day. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was Jeff Gordon behind me, and I needed to bring my A game, and was able to do that. It really was a great event for Hendrick Motorsports, and fun for Jeff and I to race that hard. And I think what you saw in those highlights there was just a competitive spirit in both of us, and just good hard racing, good clean racing, which is very important in today's world where everybody wants to see crashes.
Hey, guys, I want to know about today. I mean, you both come in here. Jeff, you're leading the points. Jimmy, you're getting right back up there with him, and you got a great finishing record here. But neither one of you guys have gotten to victory lane. Can you change that today and keep that 5 in a row, going for Hendrick?
Well, I certainly hope so. I thought Jimmy was really strong yesterday, and we had the best car we've had here in a while. We've certainly got the track position. We've had cars capable of winning here in the past. It just hasn't been recently. So I'm hoping we can turn that around. And I feel like, when the 24 team came along at Hendrick Motorsports, it elevated everything up. When the 48 team came along, it elevated up to a whole nother level. And to be able to have teammates like Jimmy and Kyle and Casey to be able to share notes with, I think this is the best best year we've ever had of winning a race here at Texas.
Jimmy, can you do something with him, buddy? Can you get to victory lane?
I feel like we've got a great car. We had a great practice yesterday on the 1.5-mile tracks. We've been very strong. Today the sun came out, which I think is going to help Jeff and I out with driving this racetrack. We'll find an outside lane and have some fun today. So I really think this Los Monte Carlo is in great shape.
Jimmy, I know you and Jeff both do a lot with charity. We showed a couple of weeks ago your bowling tournament raised a lot of money. And Jeff, is it true that somebody has a chance now to win a Corvette from you?
It is. You know, we're going to raffle off a brand new, well, fairly brand new, a couple thousand miles on it right now, Chevy Corvette Z06. That was my own personal.
Jeff, turn around real quick. There's some annoying fan behind you.
Imagine that. That's a big surprise. I'm sure that won't be the last of that today either.
That's right. All right, thank you, all three of you even. Good to have you teammates out there running. Good luck to both of you.
Hey, go to jeffgordon.com or jeffgordonfoundation.org for more information on the Corvette.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks, Jimmy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, good luck on the Corvette. Tony Stewart doesn't get enough airtime. We'll hear from him later. Stick with us. This show just getting out of the gate from the Texas Motor Speedway. Our Fox Cowboys, a little drive and ride on the Texas Motor Speedway bump. They'll have the latest. They did not invite me once again. And who's this little puff of smoke in today's photo finish? And Jeff Foxworthy helps us decide if DW and Jeff are smarter than a fifth grader. And then later in the race, Dale Earnhardt Jr. makes the day of the lucky NASCAR fan. All that at a slick round of gas and go. Good to have you with us for NASCAR on Fox. Woo! Yeah, baby! Woo! Giddy up! NASCAR at Fox is sponsored by Goodyear, innovative technology to help you get there. By Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history, an American revolution. And by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh.
Texas style. Jeff Burke, Mark Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, Tony Stewart wins in Texas.
Take me back to Texas. I miss that Lone Star State. Take me back to Texas. Take me home.
All right, from Variety Pack, it's a variety track, 12 races, 12 different winners here in Texas. By the way, DFW is not your initials. Okay, that's the airplane. Right. So what do we got? Mark Martin racing again today after taking a couple of weeks off. He went from 1st to 15th in points. Anybody have a chance of repeating, Darrell?
I don't know. A lot of guys have a chance, but I kind of believe the streak will continue. There's just something about this racetrack, and the reason I think that is every time we come here, something different. They reconfigured the track a few times. They've worked on the bump this time. Seems like every time we come here, there's a little different idiosyncrasy about the track that plays into somebody's hands.
Well, when you take a look at the guys that haven't won here, like Gordon, like Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, for example, and you take a guy like Tony Stewart, and he looked so good yesterday in practice. I think he's got the car to beat early on. But this racetrack is going to change totally because of the weather today.
And there are guys who need bounce-back performances who have had success here. Greg Biffle is one of them. Also, Casey Kane. Let's go to Krista Voda, who is standing by with Casey Kane. Krista?
Well, this is the kind of track that Casey Kane salivates over. Casey, you would love to defend your win, but you need points. So what happens if you're racing hard at the end? Do you have to give away the win to keep the points?
Well, I want to be there at the end. You know, we hopefully have a good car today. Our Dodge Steelers, UAW Dodge Charger. We'll see how it goes. We've been up and down in practice. It's been tough to get a hold of. There's been a lot of wind and different weather. So today we're going to have one thing throughout the whole race, and we'll see where we end up. I'm looking forward to it, though. I enjoy Texas. It's always a lot of fun to be here racing here, and we'll just see what happens.
All right, this track has kind of been all or nothing for him, Chris. 2 top 2s, but 3 DNFs, so this will definitely be a story to follow.
All right, Feast or Famine, we'll watch for that today. Thanks, Krista. Jeff Burton, a guy up there in points who's had success here. How about him today, Darrell?
Well, he's got the best starting position he's had here since he won back in, what, 97?
Yep.
But it's a thinking man's race. And you got to believe that he's a thinking man, so we'll see how it works out for him. He's been running great.
You got to keep up with the changes.
That was his first Cup win. Speaking of thinking men, when I first mentioned to Jeff Hammond, are you smarter than a fifth grader, he took the Fifth Amendment. Then I explained, are you smarter than a fifth grader is the new smash hit TV show on Fox. And as the show's host, Jeff Foxworthy, has said, you might be a redneck if you can answer questions like DW and Jeff.
Hey, DW and Hammond, Jeff Foxworthy here to find out if you guys are smarter than a fifth grader. Driving 200 miles an hour 3 inches from a concrete wall is a snap compared to fifth grade science. So are you smarter than a fifth grader? All but one of the planets rotate the same direction as a NASCAR race, counterclockwise. Which planet rotates clockwise?
No. Venus in blue jeans, Mona Lisa with a ponytail.
Always singing stupid.
What do you? I bet you think it's Pluto. The answer is he don't have a clue. That's his answer.
No, I don't know what the answer is. I'll at least be honest about that. I don't know the answer.
Venus.
Okay.
Very good, DW. Sorry, Jeff. You are not smarter than a fifth grader.
I know something about astrology. I know my sign born. I'm an Aquarian.
You folks at home can find out if you're smarter than a fifth grader Thursdays on Fox.
All right, I'm amazed you guys made it to the fifth grade.
An Aquarian.
All right, thanks for
Aquarian. You stargazer, you.
Somehow we all feel a little smarter. Thanks for being a good sport. Next week we're going to bring in Sanjaya from American Idol to provide hair grooming tips for Larry Mack. All right, we'll be back in a moment. Don't forget baseball on Fox next Saturday. Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Cards, some great matchups. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, and the 60th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's Major League debut honored by the 42 car today. Jackie's old number driven by Juan Pablo Montoya. Team owner Chip Ganassi, a former shareholder of the Pirates and a longtime season ticket holder. And, of course, Major League Ballpark celebrating Jackie Robinson throughout this weekend. Let's check in down on the track. Matt Yoakum is standing by with one of the drivers for today. Matt?
Jeff Burton, the 97 winner, trying to become the first repeat winner here at Texas. Jeff, 3 straight days of different weather. What's your biggest concern for today?
My biggest concern is being tight on the exit of these corners. These corners typically are very tight. You get your car to turn, you get it pretty free, hot track, loosen the corner, loosen the middle, and tight off. That's my biggest concern. But if the thing will launch off the corners here, you'll have a great day.
Pulling a number of crew chiefs from the garage that said he has one of the top 4 cars this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see. Chris?
Thanks, Matt. Jeff, good luck. Time now for the Fox News Watch. We begin with Dale Earnhardt Jr., the state of his contract negotiations, which now have a June deadline. The talks with DEI and the driver of the 8 car were put on hold since his sister Kelly had surgery. She's doing much better. Junior still wants that majority ownership of the team. Speaking of junior motorsports, they signed 7-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath to drive in the late model series. They hope he'll be in the Busch Series by next season. 15-time champ Ricky Carmichael debuted last month. And the next guy who may jump from 2 wheels to 4, James Bubba Stewart, who is seeking his first national championship dominating the series. Time now for a little gas and go, as we ask our experts the questions that they have not seen, and we look for the answers.
You know, is he looking for the truth?
Remember,
I don't think you can handle the truth.
I'm worried about being smarter than the 5th grader.
All right, here you go. Daryl, for you, remember there's a time limit here, and I thought this 15 seconds. I thought Texas was a pro-Bush state. What happened to Kurt and Kyle this weekend? They both had different wrecks. How will they fare today?
They didn't fare so well. You can see there on the screen, both of them had crashes in the same identical place, so they're not happy with turn 1 for sure. The bump down there, maybe it's affecting those guys more than others. I'm not sure, but there are a couple of bushwhackers, look like.
All right, we knew there was a punchline.
I guess.
Jeff, for you, what does it mean to these guys that we're going back to the old car today, the car tomorrow in the last 2 races?
It's real simple. The thing is, they're still complaining, folks. They were complaining about the COT car. They come to Texas. The cars still do not do what they want them to do, so they're complaining about the cars. You can't make a driver happy.
Drivers are a little strange.
All right, but I would take the car I'm comfortable in. That's all you're asking for. All right, Daryl, for you.
How does he know?
Yeah, I was like,
like the seat. If I get you a cushion you can sit in that's comfortable. All right, who has a better chance of getting their first Texas win today if you had to choose between Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson.
And why is that?
Well, I just like the way he and Chad work together. They seem to be able, like these conditions today are different than we've had all weekend here, and they seem to be able to get that old magic wand out, wave it over that car, and fix it.
Best average finish of any driver here.
That's right.
6th place.
All right, and you also heard him earlier say he wants to beat Jeff. It was a thrill of his. Okay, Jeff, for you, if a Hendrick car does win today, 5 straight wins, same racing team, first time it's happened since the early 70s, is that a good thing or a bad thing, though, for the sport? It's what you want competition.
You want competition, but you got to have something to kind of shoot at. And if Hendrick can kind of keep that momentum up, it gives the rest of these guys somebody to focus in on, and that's what's going to happen.
4 teams have have the top 10 drivers in the point standings. 4 teams have dominated this sport. sport. Hendrick right now is on their game. They're hard to beat.
They certainly are. Great communication. All right, Darrell, I know you're going to show us in the drive and ride here a little bit more about the track, but did they fix the Texas bump here that's in between turn 1 and 2? First of all, what was the problem, and did they correct it?
I don't know. They said they pregnated it.
Wow, that could be a problem. I hope you weren't involved.
I don't know what that means.
Is that anything like an aquarium?
No,
Aquarius,
I'm sorry, that wasn't the word. They levigated it.
Levigated it. Okay.
No, they saturated it.
That's what the magician.
They penetrated it.
Wait a minute.
All
This
right.
guy's smarter than a 5th grader. That's scary.
I don't know. They did something to. They
Your Honor,
injected it.
I withdraw the question.
Injected.
All right, we'll see that in drive. He's going to get us in trouble. All right, in drive
I don't know
and
what
ride.
they did. They
we'll see that.
took this gizmo and
All right, what's the
work your hands,
difference?
knock your mouth. Work your
Jeff,
hands,
what's
knock
the
your mouth.
difference in Jamie McMurray's turnaround season? He's 12th in points, 3 top 10 finishes.
Got him a new crew chief. I really like the combination between him and Larry Carter. He had to have somebody he could talk to and feel comfortable with, and Larry Carter was a man.
A quick
I think it was therapy.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Did he have some counseling?
He went to a Power of Positive Racing.
Okay.
Which I'm a big believer in. Power of Positive Racing.
Well, that's good. All right, Darrell, for you, any chance we have a repeat of last year's cat fight? Remember Greg Biffle's girlfriend, Kurt Busch's fiance?
I'm glad you got that question.
It was it didn't look exactly like that, but we got our whole movies out to give you a better idea.
Even in the pit.
You thought he was in trouble with levigation and the other stuff.
Even in the pits, emotions can run crazy.
All right, let me go back to something you know something about, which is I want to talk about the single car race team. Robbie Gordon is one of those who's done okay. Is that a thing of the past, or is NASCAR they like to give more people a chance for that in the future?
No, you got to have teammates. You heard Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon talk about and Casey Mears and how that's elevated that whole program over there. If you got good teammates, Childress, you got to have people out there helping you take notes and working on your cars together.
You got to have that. You really do. Because, again, how did Jimmy Johnson win that race at Martinsville? He went to Jeff Gordon's and looked at his notes and put that sit up underneath the car and beat him with it.
Has your confidence in Dale Earnhardt Jr. changed with 2 straight top 10 finishes?
Well, I love Junebug. I don't have any doubt in Junebug's ability. It's the organization around him. That's what he sees it. He says, we don't have a 7-post machine. There's things we don't have that we got to get, and that's what he wants. That's why he wants some control of the team, I think.
All right,
he could be the man if they'd let him be the man.
Darrell's got to head up to the broadcast booth upstairs with Darrell.
Boogity.
Have fun. We're going to go racing here in a few moments. The Speed Tour Challenge, where 4 fans travel around. Take a look.
It's on to the oldest raceway on the circuit, Martinsville Speedway.
I'm kind of on the fence if there's going to be somebody else coming in. Quite honestly, I feel the vibe that there is. It's just it's something I feel. And if they do, bring it.
Your 4th contestant.
I'm excited to get to do the victory lane and the challenges and meet people. I'm not going to just sit back and say, okay, Scott, you can, or Esty or John, all of you can walk all over me. I'm going to stand up for what I feel is right.
On your mark.
Get set, go!
Go! Back!
Good job!
So, John, since you won, tonight you're going to the Goodies Ball with the whole Petty organization. Mr. Richard Petty, the King, is going to be there.
It is an honor to meet you, sir. It is an honor to meet you.
A crowd of over 200,000 at the Great American Speedway here in Dallas, Texas, just outside Fort Worth. Let's head trackside for opening ceremony.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 504th Military Intelligence Brigade Fort Hood Color Guard present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Dr. Marsh from Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries delivers today's invocation. Heavenly Father, on this incredibly gorgeous day, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here at the Great American Speedway for the awesome sport of NASCAR competition. We pray for a safe race for each competitor and for every team, and we thank you for the sponsors and for all the wonderful fans. We're indebted to today's color guard and for the military personnel they represent. We ask you, Lord, to protect them as they protect and guard the freedoms that we enjoy. In Jesus' name, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome INO Records recording artist Mercy Me as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear it for Mercy Me.
A spectacular scene under blue skies, about 60 degrees here in the great state of Texas. We're going to go racing. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Much of the military family on hand in support of today's race from the Texas Motor Speedway. NASCAR on Fox, we welcome you back. Tony Stewart, his paint scheme, celebrating NASCAR Day, May 18th. Fans asked to donate $5 to the NASCAR Foundation to help support their charity. Last year, over $1 million was raised. Tony Stewart sat down with me, or stood up with me, for a little photo finish. Welcome to NASCAR on Fox and photo finish, our driver contestant, Tony Stewart. The revised chase, what do you think of adding a few more guys in and the points adjustment?
That'll be fine. Everybody at least knows, well in advance what it's going to take to make the chase now. And so if they only take 10 in your 11th, you're a lot happier with seeing that 12 now.
And your hometown roots, it's nice when they recognize one of their guys who've done good.
Still don't understand why I'm below Mayor Armstrong. But
that's a young Tony Stewart, with your parents saying, "Hey,
yes,
you're going to be a driver one day."
It was pretty much set, I think, before I even knew it was set. I looked pretty comfortable there, I think.
Yeah, here we go. Tony and the Dairy Queen. I see trophies all over. She had success early.
Yeah, we were winning races, and we had probably the coolest sponsor an 8 or 9 year old kid could ever have.
I know you're a big Colt fan.
Yes.
And so this had to be special for you.
Absolutely, to see somebody of the caliber of Peyton Manning and the Colts, and awesome for the state of Indiana. And
one of your favorite moments at the Brickyard?
Yeah, winning the Brickyard, that was still to this day the best day of my life. You definitely don't mind looking at that picture over and over and over.
And Mark Martin, who's back at this race today, said Tony Stewart, he said, "Tony Stewart, in my eyes, Jeff Hammond is the greatest race car driver I've watched drive in this era." That is high praise.
Very high praise right there, because Mark Martin is a true competitor and probably one of the best race car drivers out here today, and him to say that about Tony, that's pretty big.
And Tony Stewart, how about his chances today? How about the way he and Greg Zipadelli have teamed up? They got a little thing working. It was a special car.
Yeah, they got a little thing working. This is the same car he dominated with at the same race in November last year, and went on to win 2 more races, in the final part of the chase. I think the car's working well right now. They made a few tweaks today early on for the fact the racetrack's going to be a lot hotter, a lot slicker. That's the buzzword of the day. Slick, very slick because of the temperatures. But I think they got an excellent chance, and I think that he'll be really getting after it.
I thought you were calling me slick, but that is the buzzword today. Let's head down. They're not going to say, "How about them Cowboys?" You know the famous words, even in Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome star of the movie Condemned and WWE superstar Stone Cold Steve Austin as he delivers those most famous words in motorsports.
The bottom line is, gentlemen, start your engines.
And to take us through the 500 miles here, bumper, no bump, let's go to the front of the line. And Mike Joy. Mike?
Thanks, Chris, and hi, everybody. There's that saying that everything is bigger in Texas, and this Speedway bears that out. It's one of the biggest crowds of the entire season. It's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, tracks in NASCAR. It has the longest streak of no repeat winners of any racetrack. And things are freaky here, like Freaky Friday. We had tornadoes touch down. We had a rainstorm. And, Darrell, today, 95 years ago, Titanic hit an iceberg. So what do we got?
Man, I don't know. That's a lot of history right there.
Did you see the look on his face?
I hope we're not going to make that kind of history today. No. But what we've got is unknowns. You know, these guys have practiced in all kind of conditions, and now the sun's out at 70 degrees. I'd feel real good about myself and my car if I ran good here last year. I'd go back to my notes because we're very similar conditions of what we had here last year. Go back to your notebook. Talk to your teammates. I'd feel pretty good about my chances.
And the great unknown here today is the weather. It's so nice. And that's not what we've dealt with the last couple days, Larry.
No, I mean, it's great for the fans because we've not seen the sun since we've been here. But you mentioned it, Mike. I think the key factor, one of the fastest racetracks that we go to, these guys are trying to run around here almost wide open, over 200 miles an hour getting in the corner. And Jeff Hammond nailed it a while ago. You heard him say it's going to be slick. It's not going to have near the grip. A lot of changes this morning in the garage area. And I think the guy, using DW's word, that anticipates what this track's going to do, keeps up with the changes on pit stops, he'll be the one that goes to victory lane.
That was a Texas-sized iceberg, by the way. Let's have a look at Texas Motor Speedway from the driver's seat. AutoZone presents DW's Drive and Ride.
We're back in Texas, baby. You know, Jeff, one of the things that I love about this racetrack, and so do all the other guys, is how fast this baby is. These guys are running around here at 200 miles an hour, and they're talking to the crew. They say, okay, I'm down into turn one. Yeehaw! I go across the bumps. Bam, 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 right there. I'm across the bumps. I'm wide open. Yahoo! I made it! Ah! But Darrell, as they go off here into turn one and in the middle of turn two, they really fix the bumps. Let me see, Jeff. Little bumpy there, down on the bottom. Yeah, there's a little bump, but not enough to upset the car. I think it's good. All I can tell you about this joint, better tighten up your seatbelts, boys, because she is fast. Hold it tight. One more time.
Ride 'em, Cowboys.
Yeah, I used to think it was a helmet that made Jack that way. Now I'm not so sure.
Today's FedEx Racetracks. Our question comes from Hartsville, South Carolina, and Joey Poston. The car of tomorrow, Larry, working 1 week with this year's car and 1 week with the car tomorrow, which we'll have again at Phoenix. How tough's that on the teams?
Well, it's really not a challenge, I don't think, for the drivers or the crew chief, because that's a huge adjustment to be made even if you're running one car. The big adjustment and the challenge is back at the shops. They're not calling the car tomorrow. They're calling it the car of working overtime.
Yes, it is. Send your questions to foxsports.com, keyword FedEx, and we may choose yours for one of our FedEx Racetrack segments. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Budweiser Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each Nextel Cup race. Mother Nature determined the starting order for this week's race, so here's a look at the drivers who are qualified for the Budweiser Shootout of 2008. We're ready to race in the Lone Star State. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Hey, let's now that we're back, let's see if Tony Stewart will give us a shout here. Let's see if we can get him on the radio. Hey, Smoke, it's DW. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy, in your favorite car, it's your favorite track. You won here the last time we were here. What can we expect today?
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm most excited to see the sunshine out here and get some heat in this racetrack, so it'll give up a little bit of grip here. But, you know, the big thing yesterday in happy hours, Zippy and the guys in this Home Depot car did a really good job of getting a good balance and, you know, at the same time making it real adjustable, so no matter whether we get tight or loose, we got room to go either way today.
Yeah, you think you can end that Hendrick dominance today?
I hope so. I think all of us are trying to figure out how we can do that. So that's the goal. I mean, we'll see what happens, but you know, definitely feel like we got a shot, but we'll know in 500 miles.
Well, you look good sitting up in there, like your helmet. You look like you're comfortable. Hammer down, bud.
All right, man, we'll try.
Tony Stewart rolls off 9th today. Let's get late breaking stories from pit road, beginning with Steve Burns.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. In just 10 years, this race has skyrocketed in terms of prestige and popularity. 200,000 fans from 46 states are here to watch this event. 500 media members are here to see which one of 43 drivers will win this event, worth $7.2 million, the third richest purse of the year. Dick Berggren.
The weekend started out at a high note for Kyle Busch. He won the first practice, but in the second it all went wrong as he backed the car into the fence. That meant he had to pull out a backup car. He will start in the back of the field, but races have twice won from backups in the back of the field. Matt Yoakum.
Clint Boyer trying to pull a Jeff Burton, meaning score his first ever Nextel Cup victory right here at TMS. His crew chief Guilford put a lot of adjustability in his setup, knowing the temperatures today would be about 20 to 25 degrees hotter. He says, my only concern is just being too out of control. Krista.
Tony Stewart and his team have been the class of the field all weekend. What could they possibly have to worry about? That weather and that adjustability. That's exactly what the 20 team did. The team said the best car who guessed the best to the weather conditions. That's the team that's going to win this race.
Let's go straight to our keys to the race. First one, anticipate track changes. You just heard Krista say, talking about guessing at what you need to start this race, plus changes on each and every one of these pit stops for 500 miles. Engine durability, 500 miles, about half the Chevrolet teams have that new engine package, the R07, that has not raced in a 500-mile race yet. And you know what? Going back to the Busch race yesterday, you may want fresh tires, but don't pit too early because the old caution might burn you.
Short pitting sometimes backfires.
Warm day, potentially slick track. Practice in cold weather, no qualifying. It was rained out. We start by points. Gordon, Burton, 1-2 in the Nextel Cup standings. They share the front row.
Well, DW, 500 miles, 200 miles an hour off into the corner. It's going to be slick. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Just got to think real quick. The last time we started by points here in 1997, if I remember correctly, we didn't make the first turn. A lot of us didn't.
And Jeff Burton, who starts on the outside pole, ended up winning. Huge crowd on hand, and here's the moment they've been waiting for.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Our points leader, Jeff Gordon, he'll get those 5
Trouble already off turn 4.
J.J. Yaley.
David Reagan.
More cars to follow.
Chain reaction. Ricky Rudd, Casey Mears.
Oh, Rudd up on top of Reagan's car. What was that about?
Last time I remember I start by points here.
Iceberg, dead ahead.
Come on around.
I'll show you what happened coming off turn number 4. Watch the 18 and the 6 side by side left of your screen.
Oh, the 6 car just pushes up into Yaley in the 18, and that started the whole mess. Then they come back out into the racetrack right here, and that's what created the rest of the problem. Here comes Rudd. Watch this thing back up on top of that 6 car.
Ricky was trying to slow up, Darrell, and got turned around, got hit from behind and turned around.
You know, I don't think it hurt Rudd's car much.
Now watch J.J. Yaley coming from the right, the green car.
Yeah, he's right back here. You'll see him coming off turn 4. He gets a little bit loose, but I think that's because the 6 car had already made contact with him and got him sideways. And then these guys are all trying to whoa up. Here comes Rudd and company.
Johnny Sauter in the 70 had to go down through the grass. He was back there behind Ricky Rudd, but I think J.J. Yaley, the 18 car, he was as high on the racetrack as he could go.
Yeah, Reagan just, there's not a lot of grip on the first couple of laps, and Reagan just got it back in the gas, pushed up into him. I know Rudd's car's got some damage, but I think it might be repairable.
Let's watch from Johnny Sauter, who started 35th.
Go inside, way inside. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I like that. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay, I think you're good, Johnny.
But you're right, Darrell. They need to try to fix that 88 car. You heard Jeff Hammond in the pre-race talk about the guys at the back side of the top 35. He's fighting to stay in the top 35 to be locked in the show.
David Reagan started the season top 5 in the Daytona 500. Things have not gone so well of late.
Had a good race yesterday, but not today.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. An American Revolution. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By McDonald's. And by Nextel, only from Sprint, helping NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get more done.
David Reagan turns J.J. Yaley, and then Casey Mears gets into the back of Ricky Rudd. And all of those cars have varying degrees of damage. Look way down right there. There is Yaley, and Reagan is to the inside of him as they come off turn number 4. There's the initial collision, the one that sends both of those cars around. Now just coming into screen, here you'll see Ricky Rudd. Jeff Green ducks to the inside, and it was Casey Mears that got into the back of Rudd as everybody tried to whoa up.
That actually happened way on down here nearer the start-finish line. So Casey was still in the gas, looked like, when Ricky tried to slow down.
Dick Berggren?
I'm with J.J. Yaley, who has been watching the replays on our monitor. Was there any place you could have gone, anything you could have done to have avoided that?
I guess got a better start, got away from the 6. You know, I was down the outside there. It's a really long race, and to get taken out on the first lap is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, I couldn't get close to the wall, and you know, I actually was tightened up out of the way, and I thought someone actually got into the 6 car, but you know, I guess at some point you need to realize that the throttle pedal hinges, and if you're pushing, if you're loose, whatever it is, that if you lift off, you save a bunch of wrecked race cars. So a little stupidity on his part, and a bad day for the Interstate Batteries team.
Massive damage on this car, Mike Joy.
And this was a home game for Yaley's sponsor. It was sad to see him out of it. He came in here 18th in points. Now Ryan Newman got a little bit of damage to the left nose of his number 12. Johnny Sauter, you saw his onboard view.
Casey Mears had a little damage too. I think they've got it patched. There's Newman's car. They put the bear bond on it. It's probably better than it was.
Very well could be.
We're getting set for the restart.
Here's
completing
Mears' car.
6 laps.
Not a lot of damage, a little on the left front of his car, so those 2 cars seem to be okay.
So caution at lap 1.
And
David Reagan.
Rudd is back out there, and he was up to speed as he caught up with the back of the field.
Green flag.
Looks like Jeff Gordon's teammate, that 48 car, Jimmy Johnson. He wants the lead of this race. He could not run a fast lap yesterday in practice, but his car was so good on long runs.
You know, Larry, you say that, and I looked up statistically, and that 48 car's only led 3 laps here.
Yeah, Hendrick only actually has 1 win here with Terry Labonte back in like 1998.
So he'd probably like to lead more than 3 laps, unless, of course, the last 3.
Down to 168 miles an hour, middle of the corner. And now accelerating down the backstretch to near 200.
Watch this right here. Throttle going off in the corner. I mean, he was not off of it a second. Picked it right back up well before the center of the corner.
Well, last couple of weeks we've been running about 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, and that's almost pit road speed here.
Dale Jr. battling Clint Boyer there. Jamie McMurray in the midst of that battle. Looking back from Jr., they have cleared Boyer. And now McMurray and Stremme in pursuit.
I think what we're seeing again this week is a product of the 48 and the 25 helping each other. And I don't mean right now on the racetrack. I mean in the pits, in the garage, preparing their cars for these races.
Did you see Kyle Busch get loose? Did that look a lot like the car that he wrecked earlier this week?
That's not the first time he's done that in these first few laps either. He's been pretty loose all the way around the racetrack.
He only got the one final practice with that 5 car, but I know they were very happy with that car in that final practice. Just runs up on the back of Dave Blaney in that 22 so fast. You could see his car just wiggling as he was going through the bumps right there, but he's like a man possessed right now.
He was trying to cut under Blaney, and when he did, it just got a little loose with him.
Jimmy Johnson has a run coming off turn 2. Caught Jeff Gordon right in the middle of the corner and follows his tire tracks to 3. How about the race leader, Steve?
Well, Mike, as was pointed out in the pre-race show, Jeff Gordon has never won here at the Texas Motor Speedway in 12 tries. I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, this morning, and Steve said if you take an aerial view of this racetrack, none of the 4 turns are the same. And it's taken a long time for Jeff Gordon, even though he has a good finishing average, to get comfortable here. It seems like they compromise one end or one corner for the other, and they're trying to make him comfortable in all 4 turns here today.
Tell you what, the guy on the move, I've been watching him through both ends of the racetrack. Carl Edwards in that 99 car, he's one of the 12 drivers that has a win here. Just drove into the 8th position. Now he got him 3 wide. There's Kevin Harvick in that 29. He's got his hands full right now. He's been going backwards quickly.
Larry, we saw the same thing with that car here last year. Got lapped early on and had a hard time making it up. I think he had to get the lucky dog a couple of times.
He was 12th and has fallen back as Jamie McMurray holds off Kurt Busch.
And Mike, just like I said in the opening, you got to go to back to your notebook. And if you wasn't good here last year, you might not be good here this year.
Here's Busch on the bottom in a backup car. He's going to try it again. Not that time.
Of course, if you're Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, you got 2 notebooks to choose from.
Well, and that's true, Darrell, of all these multi-car teams that run similar setups and share information.
But Darrell, you're right about looking at last year. Like we were talking yesterday, it was less than 50 degrees. Right now it's pushing 70, which is exactly what the temperature was a year ago, 73 degrees when they dropped the green flag.
I knew that, Larry, you would know that better than probably anybody here.
I had it in my briefcase.
Mark Martin is back. He's back behind the wheel of the Army car, and he's got a mirror full of his former teammate, Carl Edwards in the 99.
Mark was awfully good in final practice yesterday in this Army car, and we talked to him, and he sounded confident about what he's got here. And he's not raced since we were at Atlanta over a month ago, the last time we actually raced the current car.
And you know what else? He's not irritated. He hadn't been to 2 short tracks and been bumped around, knocked around. He didn't have to drive the car tomorrow.
That's it.
So he comes in here with a really nice attitude and outlook.
Time for our first AT&T Singular Virtual Crew Chief question. Who do you think Dale Earnhardt Jr. will race for next year? To answer, text the word crew to 191 on your AT&T Singular wireless phone. Singular is the new AT&T. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. B is Richard Childress Racing. C is anybody else. This will be interesting.
I got an opinion about that.
Racing back at 10th place, David Stremme, who was strong here in opening practice, trying to close in, as Jeff Gordon has led every one of the 16 laps we've run so far in Texas. Jeff Gordon has stretched it out on his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jimmy Johnson as you watch from the DLP HD TV cam on board Tony Raines. Here's a look at Gordon, and here is the amount of his lead, which continues to grow.
And you know, he was not happy at all with his car yesterday in practice. Our guys and girls in the garage area were reporting on that car. It was loose, it was pushing, it was doing everything but what it should do. What'll be interesting is if this car ever gets back in traffic. That's going to be a telltale sign of how good of a car he's got. He's been in clean air the entire race so far.
Yeah, that's been a problem they've had with that car sometimes. It's good out front, but it's not so good back in traffic. But I got to tell you, we watched the scoring monitor yesterday. We said, boy, Jeff Gordon's in trouble. But that's where having information from the past and having a good notebook and anticipating what this track's going to be like today makes all the difference in the world.
Gordon has led every one of the 24 laps so far. We had a caution on lap 1 when David Reagan ran into J.J. Yaley. That also damaged the cars of Ricky Rudd, Casey Mears, Ryan Newman and Johnny Sauter. Otherwise, we've been caution-free.
You know how I know that 24 car is really good? Because he smokes the tires every now and then. That means that baby is down.
You know, we're not really surprised to see Juan Pablo Montoya running that good. Had a great race yesterday. They had a lug nut problem. But we always look at Texas like a sister track to Atlanta Motor Speedway. And, of course, we know how well he ran there. Same race car. Got his first top 5 finish there last month. Finished 5th in this 42 car.
One car that is not having a good day in the early going is the Pennzoil Chevy of Kevin Harvick. He has drifted back from his 11th starting spot. Harvick is currently 17th, Matt.
The Shell car was extremely neutral in happy hour, Mike, but right now Harvick is just fighting an extremely tight condition. In fact, Todd Barrier said if we get a caution, we're going to pull a spring rubber. But Kevin says, I just cannot believe how much of a difference a spring rubber would make. He goes, it must be the change in track temperature that we've seen over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, and that's normally what happens, especially with the radial tire. If you've got one end, it's not sticking when the track is cool. Like, for instance, if the front end is not sticking, the car's pushing. When it heats up, it just sticks less. It's not like the car goes to loose or push. It almost just makes whatever end's not sticking worse.
Now, you saw Martin Truex in the one put a hand out the window to try to point Harvick to the inside, but Harvick not quick enough to make the pass.
Yeah.
They continue single file.
He's pointing out to that side, and he's shaking his head no.
Harvick don't want no part of that.
I don't want to go there. Thank you very much.
Stremme in 9th place now with Kurt Busch's Dodge in tow. Busch to the bottom.
You know, we talked to him yesterday right before the Busch race after final practice. Again, as we saw in the pre-race show, this is a backup car. He had to crash on Friday. And where the front springs go, there's a bucket. And that bucket came out of the left lower control arm. That's what caused him to crash. But he was pretty happy with his race car. And this car runs right around the bottom right now, it looks like.
Yeah, he's made some good progress. He's moving forward, going the right direction.
Here, let's see if we have a little bit of that smoke you talked of.
Yeah.
Off of Jeff Gordon's car.
And this is one of the things that I kind of watched the old 24 car. The reason being is because that's the coil bind setup. And Jeff wasn't comfortable with this car. Watch this thing. It'll just fall down on the right front. You see that little smoke coming out of there? That thing is just rolling over, falling down on that right front. The right front's rubbing up in the fender, and that takes some getting used to. That's a driver thing where that thing falls over all at once. You say, oh, I'm wrecking. But it isn't. It's just taking a set, and you got to adjust your driving style. That's why they had a lot of trouble on the 1.5 miles until he was able to adjust to this.
And that coil bind setup is where the front springs are very soft. When the car goes down in the corner, it just sits on those front springs and just stays down there, keeps that nose down in the racetrack.
Well, Gordon's lead is shrinking. That's because we have a new second-place car. Jeff Burton has passed Jimmy Johnson for second. Burton, who got his very first Nextel Cup win here in the inaugural race in 1997.
As fast as you go here and as hot and slick as this racetrack, Darrell, you said it in the pre-race, it's a thinking man's race, and we know that man is a thinking man. And what did his teammate tell us yesterday, what did Clint Boyer tell us? He's driving, talking about Jeff Burton, that car, as hard as he can every single lap.
Yeah, he said he's putting it all out there. Every time he goes out around the racetrack, he's putting it all out there.
Now look what's happened to Tony Stewart at the bottom of your screen. He's gone from 7th back to 12th place where he currently runs. Krista?
Tony Stewart has his hands full right now. Back on lap 25, he came on the radio and said, my car is a pile of junk. It's all I've got. He's been searching the track looking for different lines. He said, if I get off the bottom, I am dead tight center to exit.
How do you fix that, Larry?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to get very aggressive with their adjustments when they come to pit road, just like we talked about. I'm sure there's going to be wedge taken out. There's going to be some serious air pressure changes.
And you can see just how far to the left he's having to turn the steering wheel. And that just tells you that he's putting way more wheel into the car than he wants to, and the car's not turning for him. When you see that left hand or that right hand go over the top like that, that means you've got a lot of steering input.
And the only thing Tony Stewart can do right now is roll out of the throttle. It almost won't turn with that steering wheel. He has to slow the speed of the car down.
That's exactly right, Larry. That's what good drivers do. They adjust to what the car is doing.
And it really shows on the watch. Stewart's lap times, 29.5 seconds. while Jeff Gordon goes around here in 28.9. 0.6 of a second difference. That's a lot.
That's huge. Of course, if Tony's car is bad, I don't know what that means about McMurray, because Tony has caught him and trying to pass him.
But just as we anticipated, we just saw Jamie McMurray in that 26 car moving up to the top of the racetrack. We already have at least 3 grooves of racing here just shortly into this race.
And you saw the 20 car wiggle as it exited the corner. That's again because you've got the wheels turn, the front wheels turn hard left, and when they finally get a little bite, the back end wants to snap out.
And when you have to roll out of the throttle on the exit of the corner, it just kills that entire straightaway speed.
Jeff Gordon, your leader. Jeff Burton, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just rocketed past Denny Hamlin, used a lap car as a pick, and moved up into 4th place.
I'm sitting in a hot rod today.
Even the swimming pools are Texas-shaped and Texas-sized here north of Fort Worth. Jeff Gordon's still your leader, but look, he's got company. Jeff Burton is now right on his bumper as Gordon negotiates heavy traffic. While we were away, Bobby Labonte made an unscheduled stop for overheating, and Kenny Wallace came to pit road, put the hood up, and they have pushed his Furniture Row racing machine to the garage.
Doesn't surprise me that a lot of guys got a smoke down the back over there.
Mike Bliss in the 49 car, hard lick to the front.
Racing for the Paralyzed Veterans of America, one of a number of charity initiatives this weekend here at the track, PVA.org, and let's see what happened to Mike Bliss. Look way up the top of your screen. My car just snapped around.
It looked like it did, and that's not unusual for this place. Not sure if one of the Red Bull cars. I don't think they made contact. I think Mike just got loose coming off 2 over there, and the thing snapped around on him.
Vickers in the 83 car was right behind him, but let me tell you who that really benefits. Of course, I still think they're in huge trouble. All 3 Evernham cars were just about to go a lap down, the 9, the 19, and the 10.
Yep.
Organization that just dominated the mile-and-a-half racetracks last year.
And Sterling had just gotten lapped. He gets the lucky dog, and I talked to him this morning. He said, DW, we changed everything on the car but the steering wheel.
Well, it's going to be feeding time on pit road, because I'm sure you're going to see here 44 laps in there. We were about 10 laps away from what would have been green flag stops. You see Mike Bliss out of his 49 car, but everybody will be to pit road, 4 tires and adjustments.
So let's head there to Dick Berggren.
And Matt Kenseth started this race in the 4th position, Mike, dropped back to the 7th spot. The problem is the car has got a good bit of a push to it, and he has asked for several adjustments to be made to the car on this pit stop. Crew standing by, ready to do those adjustments. It's a great car. It's the same car that Kenseth won the California race with. He was 3rd in it in Atlanta, 4th in it at Vegas, and here he is.
Kurt Busch started 17th. He is up to 6th. He is one of the fastest cars out here, and that is why they are making no adjustments on this stop. 4 tires only. Matt.
Burton and Johnson hit pit road in 2nd and 3rd. Johnson calling for a track bar adjustment. His car needed more help in the forward bite area. So did Burton. Just a slight air pressure adjustment for the 31. Steve.
Matt, adjustments for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he exits pit road, and Jeff Gordon. Gordon said his car had gone from tight in the middle to tight off. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car, he said it's rolling over on the right rear too heavy.
Tell you what, guys, the real winner on this battle on pit road, though, that 17 car, Robbie Reiser, you see, gained 2 positions. He was in his pit box, almost completed with his pit stop before some of the competitors even got to their box.
The front 4 come out the way they went in as we work the 2nd caution flag of the day.
Hey, race fans, you grab the bud, I'll grab the trophy.
First, Elliott Sadler, and now the number 7 of Robbie Gordon have stayed out on track to lead a lap under this caution period. Gordon, who wrecked a car earlier this weekend, is the present leader. Yesterday, Justin Hutchinson of Springfield, Missouri, got a brand new Chevy Silverado. And look who's making the delivery.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you?
Very good, very good.
Ready to give you a brand new Chevy Silverado.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, you want to hop in? Yeah, take off.
Not only did Justin win a new truck, Junior took him for a ride around the track to break it in. Dale Jr. signed the dash. Junior has a Silverado of his own and left his mark on the truck, and Justin gets to bring the 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year home to Missouri. Congratulations.
You know, Mike, let's explain why Robbie Gordon would stay out to lead a lap, why Elliott Sadler would stay out to lead a lap. We talked about it earlier when Jeff Gordon led that first lap. When you lead a lap in a race, not for every lap, a lap, it's 5 bonus points. And we know those 5 bonus points could be so important, staying in the top 35, getting to the top 12. A lot of reasons those 5 points could be critical, even here on race number 7.
Remember, 12 make the chase for the Nextel Cup. Elliott Sadler 13th in points, so all those bonus points are important. Next week, Fox coverage of Nextel Cup racing continues at Phoenix in prime time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On Saturday, then Sunday, April 29th, Talladega. The biggest, deepest Speedway coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern, and then Saturday, May 5th. A night race at Richmond on the 3/4 mile beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Coverage of NASCAR continues in high definition on Fox. Here's our singular virtual crew chief answer. Where will Dale Jr. race next year? You said Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, 60%.
I'd have had another one. They should have, that other team, maybe it should have been his own team.
JR Motorsports.
Text your virtual crew chief question, and maybe you'll see it show up on one of our Fox telecasts. Getting set to go back to green here. Next time by, 49 laps complete. At Texas Motor Speedway, Jeff Gordon has led 47 of those. All except for the 2 led by Elliott Sadler and Robbie Gordon under this caution.
Well, he's talking about bonus points. Jeff Gordon's got 30 bonus points already this year. He and Matt Kenseth got the most. They both have 30. So pretty darn important.
Let's get an update on Kenseth. Dick Bergman.
Well, he's going to restart in the 5th position, Mike, but the most important news is that Robbie Reiser has radioed his driver and told him the tires look excellent, perfect. And he said after looking at their notebooks, they're confident that they made the adjustments in the correct direction. Here comes Kenseth.
Boy, he came yesterday, too. He spun out. I don't know how he kept from wrecking his car yesterday. Spun that bad boy out, saved it, got tires on it, marched back through the field, and won an exciting race yesterday over Denny Hamlin.
Hey, talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, Darrell and Mike, I've been watching him. Remember, he started back in the 12th position. He's up into the 4th. And the biggest thing, he had moved all the way to the top of the racetrack at both ends.
Take a look at the scoreboard here. They do a lot of neat different things in Texas. They not only tell you how many laps have been completed in the race, they also tell you how many laps to go.
I like it.
Texas is the home of Texas Instruments that provides us with our DLP HDTV Ultimate Picture Cam, suspended on cables above the Speedway, and that's how you see this restart.
You know, with that information, that's what a driver wants to know. You never ask how many laps have we run. You always ask how many laps do we have to go. So I think from a driver's perspective, looking at the scoreboard, and we do, fans like to know that too.
Well, that's why we also show it to you at the top of our screen up there on the rundown, because every racetrack seemingly has a different number of laps in its race. It's not consistent week to week. What is consistent is Jeff Burton. That car has been strong all day, and he is just gnawing away at the rear bumper of Jeff Gordon for the lead. Meanwhile, back at the pass.
Whoa, that's a mini wad right there. Tight pack.
Steve Burns.
Mike, Larry McReynolds was just talking about the line that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was running around the high side. Carl Edwards restarted this race, restarted in the 10th position. He likes his car, but so far hasn't found a good place to run. So his crew chief, Bob Osborne, has been telling him that the 26, the 17, and the number 8 are running the high side, while other cars are running the bottom. So Carl's trying to find a good spot to run. Matt?
Under caution, Jeff Burton told his team that it was just starting to get exciting when the caution came out. He says the car balance-wise had really shifted. Even though they were about 10 laps shy of when they would have pitted, his team told him, your tires look good, because they did show some wear on that outside shoulder of the right front during practice.
Thanks, Matt. You're watching on the right. Denny Hamlin looking back at Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. That is 9th place on back.
Just watching Jeff Burton there in the 31 car behind Jeff Gordon in the 24. Remember, Jeff Burton comes in here second in the points. So what he would love to do is get up there. We've been talking about these bonus points. He'd love to get 5 points for leading a lap in this race if he can get to Jeff Gordon. In fact, right now, first, second, third, or first, second, third in the Nextel Cup points chase.
The front 4 exited the pits the way they came in. And look at this, Martin Truex threading the needle between Montoya and Boyer, making the pass.
I talked to Juan Pablo Montoya this morning. He said, you know, the interesting thing when he listens to a spotter, when he says 2 wide, he goes, okay. When he hears 3 wide, he goes, oh. If he hears 4 wide, he goes, oh no, 4 wide. He is an interesting guy to talk to, Juan Pablo Montoya.
He's funny. He's really funny. I think, did somebody get against the wall?
Yeah, I think that was Clint Boyer in the 07. Matt?
Mike, that's exactly who it was. Boyer said the car just will not turn at all. That was his complaint before the pit stop. They made an air pressure and a chassis adjustment to try to fix that. It hasn't helped. You can see now he's running the middle, just trying to hold on, losing another position.
About to get back to the bottom now. After this 13, there'll be a hole.
Let's show you what happened. Watch the black 07.
And again, it's just exit of these corners. The cars just kind of lose grip all at once, and that's the result right there.
And that's exactly what happened to the 6 car, David Reagan, at the very first of the race when he lost grip on the exit.
Tony Stewart on the outside of McMurray. This is for 8th place.
I would say that Mr. Stewart got his car fixed.
Well, you heard Chris DeVoto talking about, he told Greg Zipadelli and his crew, my car is junk. And he knew they were going to have to make major adjustments on that car.
They went the right way because he's passed Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, McMurray. He's passed all those guys in the last 2 or 3 laps and moving on.
Another driver on the move is Greg Biffle. His number 16 has gone around Mark Martin and climbed up to 12th place, just behind this group.
Yeah, Greg started back in the 21st position, and a lot like Casey Kane last year, 2 or 3 years ago, Greg Biffle pretty much owned. We got another car that was almost up the wall.
Who had just made a pit stop, came out, and did he hit the wall in 4?
It looked like he did. He did the same thing earlier, like he had a flat tire. I think he's got something broken on the right front because he went off in the corner down in 1 and 2, shot up the hill. He came to pit road. They worked on it or put tires on it. He went right back out and did the same. I believe he had something broken on the right front.
Yeah, he's just trying to ride around on the apron and make it back to pit road. Right now he's over at turn 2. No caution, we stay green.
Jeff Gordon's lead now 1 second over Jeff Burton. Gordon has stretched it out a bit again, and Stewart keeps coming. He's battling David Stremme for 7.
Gordon's car, I like the way his car is running because he starts off pretty fast, and he actually seems like he gets faster as he goes into a run.
There's the gap. 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 4th.
You see Carl Edwards in the 99 car. We just had talked about him. He's ran in the middle of the racetrack right there. Goes by Dale Jarrett in the 44 car, trying to get to his teammate McMurray in the 26. And Darrell, going back to Tony Stewart, you know, we talked to him there before the race. He said he's glad to see the sun out. Well, I just got the report that the track temperature keeps going up. It's over 100 degrees now to 102.
See how hard he's driving. Driving pretty hard. That's how he got his name right there, guys. Smoking the tires.
Kyle Petty has taken his car to the garage.
We also need to mention before that last caution, Kenny Wallace in the 78 car made it to pit road. They had the hood up, and they did put his car to the garage as well.
Pretty good day for Kurt Busch, considering how he started the weekend, backing into the wall, or hitting the wall with the right front and destroying the primary car. Krista, he's up to 6th place.
And it's also a very good day for a man named Troy Raker. Now, Troy usually sits up on the pit box, but it's in the engineer's chair. Now he is the crew chief, filling in for Roy McCauley, who is taking some personal time off to be with his wife, Amy, as she battles leukemia. The entire team sends their best wishes to Roy, who, of course, is at home watching. Troy said, you know, I just have to get a little bit better at talking on the radio. I always have opinions. I don't usually voice them live time to the driver. He's not talking much now, but he said if Kurt continues to drive well, he may pull out the aviator shades halfway through the race. Something to look forward to. We'll keep you posted on that.
Boy, that would be a real pleasure to work with a crew chief that had opinions but didn't want to voice them. That'd be a pleasant change.
Jeff Burton gives way to Jimmy Johnson. That's 2nd place.
Well, Jeff knows we're not even a fourth of the way through this race. He saw the 48 car Jimmy Johnson catch him. Why sit here and battling, knowing how much further we have to go? And there he yielded to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car as well, so he moves back to 4th.
Yeah, but his lap times, Larry, have fallen off now. Yeah, 0.3 of a second slower than the leader. That's not the danger zone, but that's not encouraging either.
He was really good on those 4 new tires, but looks like when the goodie comes off of them, he starts sliding back. How about it, Matt?
DW came on the radio and said, my car is just too free, lacking forward bite. I'm just going to let some other guys get out front and lead for a while and ride till they can fix this car on their next stop.
Well, you know, being a little bit loose on the start of a run is good. It makes you really fast, but it's got to go away for you to stay fast. Apparently that time it didn't go away for him, so they're going to have to tighten her up a little.
You know, I look at this pack right here, a car I've been watching, and I noticed him yesterday in final practice. David Gilliland in the 38 car started back there in the 30th position. He has now moved up into the top 15 up there in the 14th position. And that crew this morning, they said, you know what? We're not going to change this race car. We're going to do it with air pressure. We were too good yesterday. We just do not want to mess with it. And it's paying off.
Isn't that the same kind of car crew combination that won this race with Elliott Sadler?
Pretty much, for the most part, a couple of years ago.
Denny Hamlin, car doesn't sound good. He's fallen back into the clutches of Greg Biffle. Matt?
Oh, he's got trouble.
Hey, Mike, the problem with Denny Hamlin, just moments ago, he told Mike Ford and his crew that he had a vibration. You see his hand out the window net. They are coming to pit road under green. The vibration has gotten worse on the 11 car for Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin came in here 7th in Nextel Cup points.
4 tires and fuel.
Heard Mike Ford, his crew chief, tell him we're going to go ahead and change 4 tires. The anticipation that possibly a wheel out of balance, something of that nature right there. Now what they need this race to stay green to cycle through some green flag pit stops.
That might be the problem, but it sounded funny to me. And that is one of the new Chevrolet engines, so I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, all of the Joe Gibbs teams, Tony Stewart, J.J. Yaley, who's basically out of the race. Denny Hamlin, they come in here with this new R07 engine, and in simple form, it's just a little better across the board for the Chevrolet teams, and a lot of internal differences.
Look at Jeff Gordon's lead, with teammate Jimmy Johnson now 2nd by 2.4 seconds. Dale Earnhardt Jr. another 2nd back. Here's your leader. And here's Juan Pablo Montoya battling Martin Truex, taking the long way around.
You know, Darrell, going back to talk about that R07 engine, and we certainly do not know that that's a problem right now with the 11 car, but the one thing I've questioned all weekend is why you would bring it for the very first time to a racetrack like Texas, 500 miles. It's very, very hard on engines with a sustained RPM. Why would you not try it somewhere else first?
You know why? It must be a whole lot better on the dyno.
And the practice sheets have been showing that with the Joe Gibbs car.
Yeah. You got to run it somewhere. Might as well start here at Texas, 500-mile race, see how good it is. But I got to believe when they dynoed them, they said, whoa, we can't leave this at home.
Brian Vickers right now the leading Toyota in the race. Dave Blaney 2 spots back, and Dale Jarrett back at 34th. 2 Ganassi cars, Montoya and Sorensen nose to tail as they work on Dale Jarrett. 72 laps complete in the Samsung 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. 2:62 to go. Jeff Gordon pretty firmly in command.
From the Great American Speedway, America's Grand Game returning to Fox. Yankees, Red Sox, renew their rivalry, or Cubs, Cardinals. Check for a game in your area. Note the time, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, Saturday. It's Major League Baseball on Fox. And we welcome you back here. Jeff Gordon has dominated, leading all but 2 laps in this race. This is the most laps he's ever led in a Texas race. In case you joined us a little bit late, opening lap coming out of turn 4. Watch, we highlighted the rookie David Reagan in the 6th car into J.J. Yaley, creating a spill as Darrell Waltrip had said moments before. Donald Grip on the track early. Watch, Ricky Rudd flipping up into the air. All the drivers were okay. Yaley and Reagan, their cars out of this race. And as we come back to Jeff Gordon, the points leader coming in, but he's yet to win a race this year. And Jeff, this is one of 3 tracks, Miami and Phoenix, where he's never won. And Steve Burns reported earlier about how he was uncomfortable at this racetrack.
Uncomfortable is not really a way to put it. He doesn't like this racetrack. Steve Letarte told me this morning that they actually came here with a race car that he had won in before, had led a lot of laps at Las Vegas in, so they could try to eliminate the excuses. And that was another reason why they came with the engine of the day rather than the R07 engine that Chevrolet had available, because they wanted to try to keep things as simple as possible, and they were working on a setup that they hoped would make Jeff happy. And right now, it looked like they hit the right setup, and the momentum that they've carried all year long is really starting to kind of click for these guys. And he told me today, Steve Letarte right there on the right, if they could come out here with a top 10 finish, they'd feel like they'd won the race.
All right, and of course the dad-to-be in July, his wife Ingrid, pregnant with a baby girl. The last time, the only time a pole sitter has won this Texas event, Casey Kane, a guy who you said critical race for him coming in. The Evernham Dodgers having trouble. Kane currently running 27th, Sadler 26.
Yeah, they're struggling right now, and I really thought this weekend off would give these guys a chance to regroup, come back here to a racetrack where they had some success. Both of these drivers have won here before, but early on, all 3 of Evernham's cars are struggling at this point, and I think they've got to make some wholesale changes if they expect to get up in the hunt, not only for the chase for the championship, to get back where they can win races.
Jamie McMurray, 12th in points, coming in, battling Mark Martin, of course, who's back in this race after taking a 2-race break. Let's turn it back upstairs to Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Fastest car on the track just went through this pack that we see right there, led by Mark Martin, and that's Martin Truex Jr. He's up in 11th position after starting 24th today, and there's his Chevy headed for the front.
Talked to his crew chief, Kevin Mannion. They were pretty excited. They've been fast all week long. This is the car that he finished 2nd with at Homestead Miami Speedway in November, so they've been fast ever since they unloaded on Friday.
Past Ricky Rudd's car that was so heavily damaged in the lap 1 crash, but continues to run. Now Denny Hamlin is also running lap times equal to Truex's after an unscheduled pit stop.
And here's what happened. We did get the report while we were at break. He did have a left rear wheel that was loose, but now the problem is he is a lap and 3/4 down right now. He's about 6.5 seconds in front of Jeff Gordon, who's leading the race. As I said, Denny Hamlin needs this thing to run at least about 15 to 20 more laps, because then all of our leaders would be to pit road for a green flag stop. He needs it to go that far without a caution.
He's going to be okay, and I tell you why. Jeff Gordon has slowed down quite a bit the last several laps. His lap times have really taken a dive. A lot of it because he's lapping a lot of good race cars right now, or a lot of race cars, and he has really lost about 2 or 3 tenths a lap here over the last 5 laps.
You know, I want to follow up on something that Chris Myers just mentioned about Jeff Gordon. He mentioned that Phoenix, Homestead, and Texas are the only tracks on the circuit that Jeff has not won. Jeff has actually won at Phoenix and Homestead in a Busch Series race, but he has not won anything at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yet.
On this radio, you guys hear me? Yeah, we got you. Talking to you, nobody's in here in that other radio. I'll switch over. Tell me where Jimmy's running, because I'm getting real tight.
And I think that answers...
He's running the same line you are, identical.
Why he has slowed down, but it also sounds like he was having some radio problems. The good news is, like a lot of systems in the car, they have a backup radio that the driver can flip to.
Let's get to one of the other Hendrick cars, Kyle Busch. who also crashed during practice, currently running in 14th, Dick.
Yeah, and as a result of that crash, Mike, he had to start all the way in the rear of the field in this backup car. The game plan for today, according to crew chief Alan Gustafson, base hits all day long. No attempt at home runs. Just pick and choose the spots as you get them. The car has not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. His most recent transmission was it needs more grip in the center and more front grip throughout the corners. But the car is good enough that he has passed more than half of the field in his march to the front. And remember 2005 when Greg Biffle in a backup car started dead last, worked his way to the front, and when the checkered flag fell, Biffle won. Maybe Busch could repeat.
Well, base hits, that may be a tall task. I've been wondering who would be the next Buddy Baker. Flat out or half turned over? Kyle Busch is it.
No, he's always wide open. I can assure you that, just like Baker always was. But Jeff Gordon was wanting to know where Jimmy Johnson's running. In about 5 more laps, he'll be able to tell where he's running.
He'll be able to watch him.
He'll be able to watch him
through the windshield, not the rearview mirror.
Right. He won't have to ask here in a few more laps. But you're right about Kyle. He leaves nothing. He hangs it all out all the time.
Whole new meaning to loose.
And
Jeff
fast.
Gordon leads by 1 second. He leads Jimmy Johnson. Funny how things in the pre-race come back to us during the show. Like the 2 Hendrick teammates up front and somebody lurking right behind them.
Today's race on Fox is sponsored by the new Ford Super Duty, built to work harder for you. By DLP, HD TV powered by DLP. It's amazing. It's the mirrors. By DirecTV. Just say ride shotgun on race day with NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV. And by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood.
Here comes Kane. Sadler by half a car length. Today's DLP amazing moment when Elliott Sadler beat Casey Kane here by 0.03 seconds in 2004 for his second career win. Kurt Busch has already been in. Matt Kenseth is in now. Dick?
Well, indeed, Mike, the changes that they made in the last pit stop that they thought were going to be so good didn't work out so well. Car has a bit of a push, but most important, the crew is up to full song with Russ Strupp, the veteran jack man, back today after knee surgery.
All right,
Steve.
Mark, go ahead, Steve.
Jeff Gordon on pit road in the 24. You heard him say a few moments ago that his car had been tight. Specifically, his car is tight from the center of the corner off. Matt to the 48.
Jimmy Johnson says his car just a tick to the tight side, although balance-wise it wasn't bad. He just had to put some wheel into it, needing a little more grip. Let's go back up pit road to Steve Byrne.
Matt, they've made an air pressure adjustment, some tires for Jeff Gordon, also made a slight wedge adjustment. He's off pit road.
Jamie McMurray has made a stop. Sterling Marlin, Tony Raines, Dave Blaney, Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick. Let's go to the 26 pit.
Jamie McMurray off pit road, right side tires on. They come around to the left side of the car. Krista.
Tony Stewart is tight on entry and tight in the center of the turns, but the big thing he got on the radio and said the car is not terrible.
Well, that's an improvement. That's good.
What do we always say, Larry? Can you just tell me one thing you like about this
Do you
car?
like anything? The seat, the color?
It is his favorite color. It's orange.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, he led a lap there, got his 5 points. He's on pit road as well as Jeff Burton in the 31 car.
Matt?
Burton, who faded back and forth due to his car being just too loose for him to get up there and race with the leaders, just trying to be patient. Scott Miller calling for an air pressure change on both right side tires for the former winner here in Texas. He's away.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said his car had gotten pretty good on that run. He just needed help in turn 3. He said he was tight getting in there, so they took some air pressure out of that right front tire on that number 8 Chevrolet.
Brian Vickers leads a lap as we cycle through green flag pit stops. Paul Menard in the pit lane, Dale Jarrett, Johnny Sauter, who's had a strong race after a difficult practice. As Vickers is the leader, there is Jeff Green's pit stop.
we're only about 2 or 3 cars from cycling through what was all scheduled green flag stops.
Kyle Petty is back in the race after spending 40 laps in the garage. And here's Vickers with the field set by points. His teammate A.J. Allmendinger had to sit this one out. But here's the first Toyota driver to score a top 10 finish this season.
And Mike, how Brian Vickers got in this show, he was not high enough in the owner points, but one of the criteria when you have a rain out, it goes back and gets any race winners from the previous year. Brian Vickers won Talladega. That's how he's in this race.
And finally, he comes in to make his stop, so that will complete the cycle and put Jeff Gordon back into the lead over Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Kurt Busch. Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. And I believe this may put Denny Hamlin back on the lead lap since he's out of cycle with the rest of the leaders
now,
on stops.
The 24 and the 48 came out of the pits together. As a matter of fact, I think the 48 actually gained a little time on him in the pits on Jeff Gordon. But when I watch him go around the racetrack now, there's almost 2 seconds difference between Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. You can see them exit pit road right there almost together, but boy, there's Jeff going in the middle of 3 and 4, and where is Jimmy? Way back here just now in the middle of 3 and 4. Somewhere along the way, Jimmy lost a lot of time.
And to see if that was a difference in getting up to speed, Darrell, or maybe a difference in working race traffic. Matt?
Mike, that's one issue that Jimmy's been trying to fix all weekend long. He said when he looked back to last fall, he noticed that his car took a little while for the good to come in. He needed the front end of the run to work a little better than it did. They were trying to fix that this weekend. They couldn't quite do it. He says at about lap 6 on the run, his car really comes in, but he does give up a little bit of time in those first 5 or 6 laps after a stop.
Now, we just had mentioned Denny Hamlin there. You just saw him in the 11 car, and he had to come to pit road basically about 34 laps ago on lap 70 with a loose left rear tire. It looks like Mike Ford has elected to keep him on sequence with the leaders, but I'm not so sure that I wouldn't have went a little ways just to see if I could get a caution and stay on the lead lap. I know you don't want to give a lot of time up, but maybe just a few laps.
I agree, Larry, because this is now going to put Hamlin nearly 2 laps down, having made the stop. Here comes Gordon up to lap him for a second time. Perhaps with the fresh tires, Hamlin will be able to stay out in front of the race leader. We'll find out when we come back.
Telling you right now, it's a gym in the desert, under the lights. When they drop the green flag, the fireworks will be going off.
Holy cow, got a car around down here. Big Brad, bunch of good cars.
The nighttime is the right time to be good here.
Come on, bring her down, bring her down.
Kevin Harvick, for the first time since Bristol, is a winner.
Back to back, what a weekend for that guy.
It's Saturday night, we're under the lights. Let's get her done in the desert.
Next Saturday night, prime time in the desert in Phoenix. Jeff Gordon continues to lead. We stay green, but Ryan Newman slapped the wall coming off turn 2 and has come to pit road.
Right rear is down. That's what's wrong with him.
Krista?
Yeah, a flat tire for the 12, and this is coming after more bad luck. On the earlier stop, they had a broken jack problem. Now a flat tire. They also have a tire rolling out of the pit box. Not sure if that's going to be a problem or not.
Also, while we were away, Paul Menard brushed the wall coming off turn 4, but continued without incident.
Remember, Ryan Newman was involved in that wreck back on lap 1. That's the reason it has all that Barabond and that tape on the nose. They've been back out there running, but struggling a little bit since they dropped the green flag.
You know, saw Bobby Allison next door in Bruton's suite. Good to see him, and it jogged my memory that we got a proud papa standing next to us. Brandon McReynolds drove his Allison Legacy car last night at Dillon, South Carolina to win the pole and lead all but 2 laps and win the race. Attaboy.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Sean and Adam and Mom Linda and Kendall, they were down there, and I was in the motor coach bouncing off the ceiling, the wall, in both. But yeah, it's always neat to see him get that first win. Great racetrack down there at Dillon. Ron Barfield and those guys have put together.
So that's what I heard in the motor coach. So
probably about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said I was going out and look for those race fans that raising all that cane out there.
It was me.
That race fan was Larry. We are 114 laps into this race. 20 to go. Reed Sorensen with Carl Edwards and with Kyle Busch. And now caution has come on the Speedway.
Boy, look at that 12 car. Looks like a big chunk of the tire's gone.
Yeah, debris in turn 2 is the reason for the caution. That is the tire that came off Ryan Newman's car.
That's concerning right there. It's on the shoulder. It looks like the tire came apart.
You can see the Goodyear engineer right there looking at it, but I tell you, that caution is a huge advantage for Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, Montoya. They were just about to go a lap down to our leader, Jeff Gordon.
Yesterday in the Busch race, Matt Kenseth had the very same thing happen to his right rear tire.
So the caution erases Jeff Gordon's 4-second lead over Jimmy Johnson and 9 seconds ahead of Jeff Burton.
I lied about my
Dale
age.
Jr., Kurt Busch, the top 5. And the free pass will go to Brian Vickers, who was the first car 1 lap down. Steve?
And listening to Jeff Gordon right now talk on his radio, he said his car is really good, just a little bit tight, which is an improvement when he was saying it was real tight earlier. He's got a good race car. They'll make a small air pressure adjustment. Matt?
Over my shoulder, Chad Canales is debriefing his driver Jimmy Johnson over how his car reacted to the changes they made in the last stop. At this juncture, talking about possibly pulling a spring rubber and maybe another air pressure adjustment. He says the car just feels like it wanders too much. Krista?
Kurt Busch and his team deciding what they're going to do. They have not made any adjustments thus far. They will be making adjustments, a track bar adjustment. He is faster than all the cars, but he is suffering for it. Poor fuel mileage right now for the number 2 team. Dick.
Greg Biffle had moved to the 8th position, but he's not happy with his car. Not at all. Loose in, tied out. They're going to make enough adjustments on this pit stop. He may well lose some positions on the racetrack.
Pit road is open for the lead lap cars, and Jeff Gordon brings them down.
We've got about all 17 cars on the lead lap on pit road. It's been about 20 laps since they were last there under green. See the 48 car there? That's where Chad Canales and Jimmy Johnson are so good. It was what we talked about at the top of the show, anticipating what this racetrack is going to do and the changes they need.
Jeff Gordon leads them off pit road. Johnson second. Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton. Kurt Busch, Kenseth, and Stewart.
Not a lot of shakers and movers there. You see a few lost positions, gained positions.
Caution flag out at lap 117, third one of the day.
NASCAR Next Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Gillette Deodorant, triple protection technology for men. By Goodyear, innovative technology to help you get there. By FedEx, every day is race day. And by Domino's Double Zero Deal, the official pizza of NASCAR. 215 laps to go. It's Jeff Gordon ahead of Jimmy Johnson right now. Hendrick Motorsports, that race team going for its 5th straight. It hasn't been done since the 70s. And when we last left you 2 weeks ago, Martinsville, the closing laps, remember? It was Jimmy leading Jeff and Gordon doing all he could to get ahead of Johnson. But in the end, Jimmy didn't let up. His teammate, Jeff Gordon, owns part of that car, and it was Jimmy coming in first. How will today be, Jeff Hammond? They trade the information. You heard Jeff Gordon earlier talking about it.
Yeah, he was calling crew chief Steve Letarte early on, trying to find out where Jimmy was running to see what his car was doing when his 24 car went off a little bit tight as we get ready to go back green.
Chevy, Mike, has the top 4 spots.
Thanks, Chris. Getting set for the restart. Jimmy Gordon. Yeah, him too. And Jeff Johnson. All right.
What is it? That
Tell you what.
ice cream bar next door got you all messed up.
Yeah, no, I think it's time for Shut Us Up. How about let our Emmy-nominated audio crew, led by Freddie Aldis, crank it up for us on this restart. breakaway at the front of the pack, and now Jeff Burton also breaks free of race traffic.
I'll tell you one thing, there's some guys back in there that are really, really leaning on each other. Golly gee, they've made a little contact. So far, so good.
I think one reason they're leaning on each other is a lot like that 19 car up there you see just in front of Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler. He's the first car lap down. We almost have as many cars a lap down as we do lead lap cars. Those guys fighting to stay up there to maybe get the free pass should we get a caution. Elliott Sadler right now in the 19th position.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon is so good, and when he gets out front, he just checks out on these guys.
Second place, Jimmy Johnson has his hands full, and he is now the third place car. Dale Jr. moves into second. Steve.
Mike, you guys have been talking about these race teams anticipating changes and keeping up with the racetrack. That's exactly what that number 8 crew did on the last pit stop. They actually reversed a change they made on the previous stop. They put air back in the left front tire. And the really good news for Junior fans is they had a wicked fast pit stop. It was sub 13 seconds, Matt.
It's a work in progress for Jeff Burton and his 31 team. The last 2 stops, they've made small air pressure adjustments, just trying to tweak that race car's balance. Right now, he said it's still a little tight through the center of the corner. Let's go to Kristen.
Steve Burns talked about adjustability, making changes back to where they did before with the 8. Well, that's exactly what the 20 did also. They put the air back in the tire that they had taken out on the previous stop. Tony said the car freeing up just a little bit. Dick Berger.
Well, Greg Biffle lost 6 positions on that last pit stop because the crew pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear corner of the car. That's a chassis tuning device. Here it is, and it worked. Biffle said the car is much better now.
That spring rubber just lets the car turn better. It takes a little pressure off that left rear tire, frees the car up a little bit, lets it turn through the center of the corner much, much easier.
And that's where he looked so good, just that left right there down in turn 3 and 4. His car flew through the middle of the corner, almost so fast he had to roll out of the gas to keep from running over David Strimmy in the 40.
Sterling Marlin about got run over in this pack. I mean, things are heating up. When you're working lap traffic, and there are, as Larry pointed out, so many lapped cars.
Well, everybody's car is pretty good, you know, on the restart. You got fresh tires on. Boy, I tell you, these guys are really racing hard, though. I keep waiting for one of them to run over the other one, but they haven't done it yet. Little group right in there with Dale Jarrett and them that are really treacherous.
Just saw Denny Hamlin now. He is still a lap down in the 24th position. Got a lap down back on lap 70. We had to come pit road because of a left rear tire loose.
That's about the 4th time today I've looked at Jeff Burton and go, what happened? Is something wrong with his car? No, he's big picture racing. Kurt Busch is faster than him. He found a place where Busch could pass him, that it wouldn't slow up his momentum. Let him go on. Picks the throttle up once again.
I tell you, sitting out front where Jeff Gordon is a place to be, and I'll show you a place it's not to be. These guys right here, they're 3 wide, they're hammering on each other. Got some guys in here that are not handling all that great. Look at the one car come off the corner there, all jacked out of shape.
It was just a slight slide. Woo.
That's what you call ride 'em cowboy right there.
Brian Vickers got the free pass on that brief debris caution. We've completed 129 laps in the Samsung 500 on Fox. Jeff Gordon continues to be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He leads Dale Earnhardt Jr. by 1.5 seconds. With 135 laps completed at Texas. Jimmy Johnson's the 3rd place car. He is 4 seconds off the lead. And closing in is Kurt Busch, the 4th place car. His Penske Dodge is 4.4 seconds off the lead. One thing I like about Kurt Busch is, like me, he is a long-suffering, lifelong Chicago Cubs fan.
Let's go, Cubs fans. And a 1, and a 2. And a 3.
Love to beat the Cardinals. I love to see the Cubs do strong, especially at home at Wrigley, because there's no other place like it. So just the experience in general. If you haven't been to Wrigley, you'll know what I'm talking about when you go.
Absolutely. Big Saturday on Fox. Major League Baseball every Saturday, 3:30 p.m. And some of you will see the Cardinals versus the Cubs, 3:30 Eastern Time. And then Saturday night under the lights, NASCAR racing in Phoenix. So a big sports Saturday on Fox.
Now, if you noticed, the T-shirt Kurt Busch had was, "I know the words." And what he was referring to shortly before that, Jeff Gordon had been to, as he referred to it, Wrigley Stadium and tried to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and it just wasn't exactly the perfect rendition of it.
Well, Jeff said he wasn't used to the sound coming back a second or two later in the reverb from the speakers, and got a little off time. And
that's what I'd have said too.
Yeah.
And the sun was in his eyes, right?
I've had stuff like that happen to me. Stuff will reverb back to you like 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah. And now let's see a little bit of video and hear from our onboard commentator, Tony Stewart. All right, he's not our onboard commentator, but he did have to tell the crew what happened.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt it. That was a kiss. And you saw it right at the end of the safer barrier. Caught just the tail end of the barrier. It's tapered a little bit right there. Don't believe it'd do all that much damage. Probably slowed down there for lap 2 to be sure everything was all right.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is he's still running in the 6th position, talking about Tony Stewart in the 20 car, but right now he's a couple of tenths off of what our leader is. And Jeff Hammond, I think the biggest thing, we've been talking about it since the pre-race, is right now the track has went up to 105 degrees. That's 40 degrees hotter than practice yesterday, a lot less grip.
A lot less grip, Larry, and you know the thing that's amazing me right now, I want to point this out. Jeff Gordon, our leader, has led 133 laps, and believe it or not, guys, that equals the same number of laps he's led in all previous 12 other Texas races. I mean, it's incredible the dominance of this race car today and the way Steve Letarte and his entire group have been able to get this car set up for these conditions and adjust during the course of the race, not to mention be really good on pit road.
Yeah, Jeff, if he leads about 30 to 35 more laps, he will go ahead and sew up the additional 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
Got a little trouble brewing behind him, though.
Just 7/10 of a second behind, Steve.
Yeah, Mike, Jeff Gordon saying his car is just a little bit free in turn 4, a little tight in 1 and 2. And I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, this morning, and they've been talking about, Larry Mack referred to the team saying it's the car of overtime between preparing new cars, testing, and getting this car ready. He says it's been a brutal stretch, but their optimism has remained very good. And he said in the month of May, it's even worse. He said he has a calendar, and he marks a yellow mark if they're testing, racing, or in the wind tunnel. He said right now, there's only 2 days that aren't marked yellow in the month of May.
We think about it, Mike. We started the year off with a restrictor plate car on a 2.5-mile track. The next week, we were in California on a 2-mile track with a current car. Then we went to one of the 1.5-mile tracks, Atlanta, with the current car. Next thing you know, we're at 2 half-mile racetracks with the car tomorrow. And now we're back here with the current car. So you've had 3 different cars, 4 different kinds of racetracks in the first 7 races of the year.
Oh, by the way, in a couple of weeks, we're going to do some restrictor plate racing at Talladega.
Yeah, again, back with the restrictor plate car. So it's really, really hard for preparation to get these things all ready to go to the racetrack, plus backups.
Now let's have a look at how Dale Earnhardt Jr. caught Jeff Gordon. With Fox 3D, we can show you the line that Gordon is running. That's that yellow stripe behind his car, and compare it with where Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the racetrack at this moment. Pretty different.
That's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been running turn 3 and 4 almost since the drop of the green flag. He loves that high line.
Woo! Woo, baby.
Whoa.
He does love that high line, but boy, she got a little loose coming up off turn 4 that time. And we see Junior's car do this. When Junior's having a problem with his car, here's what it does. When he's not happy with his car, or when his car is not handled like he wants it to, it seems like right on corner exit, she gets a little squirrely with him.
Now he's going to try the bottom in turn 3. Gordon way up high. Will Junior get the lead? 200,000 folks on their feet think he will.
I was going to say, everybody here is standing waving red hats or towels or something.
Well, Jeff Gordon's spotter is saying Junior's running high in 3 and 4. So Gordon moves up to run high in 3 and 4. And what does Junior do? He goes where he's not.
You know, this has definitely been a racetrack that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has always ran well at. He got his very first career win here in 2000. One of the few Victory Lane celebrations his dad got to enjoy with him.
I'll never forget, I rode out of here that day on the helicopter with Dale Sr., and he was talking about how Junior and them had run the same setup in his Cup car that he'd been running in his Busch car. And Dale was adamant about it just can't work. That setup can't work in a Cup car. Great big sway bar, soft front springs. No way that's going to happen.
But it did. Now you see at the top of your screen Jeff Gordon's telemetry, at the bottom Dale Jr.'s. Now they do run the same rear end gear, so the RPM at the same point on the track would be similar if the cars are running the same speed.
Well, the biggest thing that will dictate a different RPM or miles per hour, who gets back to the gas the soonest in the corner and who can stay in it. That last time coming off turn 4, you could hear Dale Earnhardt Jr. because his car is not gripping good on the late exit. He had to roll out of the throttle.
Miles apart on entry, but look how close they are on exit. And that's all because Junior can get back in the gas and hang that tail out again, bud.
Did it again off turn 4. About every other lap right now.
Well, it's probably a good time for our next singular virtual crew chief question, which is about Jeff Gordon. As Larry pointed out, this is the only track on which Gordon won a race of any kind. Will Jeff Gordon win today? Yes or no, A or B? Text the message crew to 191 from your AT&T or Singular wireless phone, or go to foxsports.com, keyword singular.
You know, as I watched Jeff Gordon in the 8 car, I heard Steve Burns report a while ago about anticipating and keeping up with changes. And to me, that's something that Tony Eury Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they've had missing for a long time, is they've never done a good job of keeping up with the right changes. Looks like they may be gaining on it, at least for today.
There's the gap, first to second, with 151 laps complete in Texas.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
We've got a new leader in Texas. Dale Earnhardt Jr. went after Jeff Gordon. Took the bottom of the racetrack away down in turn 1. Drove off turn 2 with the lead. And Junior Nation came to their feet.
Yeah, new sheriff in town. Big Red.
He's now pulled away from Gordon by 1 second, but has to deal with traffic here.
You know what I like about that 8 car, Larry, is he can go where he can run the bottom, or he can slide her up the hill and run the top. He's got a pretty good car, looks to me like.
That's where he finally took advantage of Jeff Gordon, is being able to go where he needed to with that 8 car.
So Gordon now second, 1 second behind. Jimmy Johnson third, 3.4 seconds back, and Kyle Busch coming. Dick Berggren?
Indeed he is, Mike. Kyle Busch from the back of the pack has moved all the way to the 6th position on the last pit stop. Absolutely no adjustments. He has said the car is really good, responsive, and when he gets in clean air, which he's in right now, he can run laps as fast as, if not faster than, the leader.
Yeah, Dick, of course the field was set by points because of qualifying being washed out. Kyle Busch was slated to start 5th, but in the first practice yesterday, they crashed their primary car, had to go to a backup car, and even when we do not have qualifying, if you crash and have to go to a backup car after the intended qualifying session, you have to go to the rear of the field. But he is on a march to the front with his 5 car.
Yeah, he and his brother both. I mean, they have done phenomenal jobs in these backup cars to be where they are. And I'll tell you, the 2 car is looking mighty good. It's probably the best I've seen the 2 car look since Daytona.
But we've been talking about some comers and goers. Carl Edwards in the 99 car, when they first started this race, he moved right up to the front. But Steve, right now, he's back in 15th, in jeopardy of going a lap down to leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, Larry Mack, he wants a caution flag bad. About 8 laps ago, he said he felt a bad vibration. It seemed to dissipate a little bit as he kept going, but he wants a caution flag and he wants to get to pit road. He's just trying to hang on right now.
Behind him, Tony Raines in the 96. Then Jamie McMurray and Brian Vickers is the last car on the lead lap.
You know, almost every race team in this race is located in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And you consider when we race there at Lowe's Motor Speedway, it's a home game. Right now, we had Sterling Marlin in the 14 car get bad out of shape coming off turn 4, but we stay green, no caution. But going back to the 96 team, actually running here at Fort Worth is almost like a home game because the owners, Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, they live here in the Dallas area. Managing partner Bill Saunders from Dallas, plus DLP HDTV. This is their headquarters. So a good day to have a good top 20 run going here in 16th right now.
Marlin, it looks like, will not bring out the caution. He got down to the track apron.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it back, though, Mike. He's going mighty slow halfway down the back.
Well, as Steve reported, Carl Edwards hope he does not make it. Looking for that caution flag.
Elliott Sadler hopes he doesn't make it. Sadler would get the free pass. Marlin appears to be coasting. We'll see if he makes it to pit road. He's way off the racing surface, so does not pose a problem to the competitors unless that car would stop.
Don't make it back. We got to push it.
He's going to make it.
Don't make it back. He's coming here.
You know, we do a thing when we do an aero test called a coast down. I guess that'd be a good coast down test for a start.
To see how far it'll go without power.
Yeah.
And he will make it to pit road. And he's going to make that dreaded left turn to the garage area. And right now, looks like he may join Mike Bliss, Kenny Wallace, and J.J. Yaley, the 3 cars that are out of the race.
Stewart has been slipping back. Montoya gets him for 10th place.
Yeah, that contact that 20 had with the wall looks like it's hurt the car a little bit.
Matt?
Mike, if you're wondering how Juan Pablo Montoya is fitting in with his fellow drivers here in NASCAR, all you have to do is look at his calendar on June 6th. It's a Wednesday. He's going to be participating in the Nextel Prelude to the Dream, a celebrity dirt late model race on the high banks at Eldora. And I said, have you ever been on dirt before? He says, not really, but Kevin Harvick told him, actually, while everyone was huddled in the hospital waiting out the tornadoes, that you couldn't do any worse than I've done the past 2 years. Go, you'll have a great time. So something new again for JPM dirt.
So Johnny Montoya is going dirt track racing.
Oh boy, that ought to be exciting. Now we are right on top of what will be green flag pit stops. All the leaders were on pit road back at lap 117. In fact, Brian Vickers, the 83 car in a Toyota, just was on pit road a couple laps ago. Here you see Kurt Busch in the 2, Scott Riggs in the 10, and here comes Matt Kenseth in the 17. All these will be scheduled green flag stops.
And Busch drops out of 4th place to make his stop, Krista.
The call is for slight changes. Kurt Busch said if we tighten this thing up any, we are going to lose our speed. He's just a little bit free. Air pressure and wedge. That's the call from Troy Raker. Kurt Busch says, I like it. Dick Berggren.
Well, they've been working on Matt Kenseth's car at every single pit stop, but they can get it close, but they can't get it just right. He was in 8th position before that pit stop where they made multiple adjustments.
Kevin Harvick is in, so is Robbie Gordon. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson again pit in tandem on the same lap. Martin Truex is in, and so is Mark Martin, Matt.
And Johnson's team going to go for another track bar and wedge adjustment. He said his car had made big improvements. The wandering was gone. It was still a tick tight on entry and just a little free on exit. He's away. Steve?
Jeff Gordon complaining about his car getting really tight as Dale Earnhardt Jr. went past him. At the bottom of your screen, you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming to the attention of his team. Tony told Tony Eury Jr., his crew chief, that his car had gone from neutral to a little bit on the loose side. So 4 tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dick.
Kyle Busch in, no adjustments to the chassis again other than tire pressure, 4 tires and fuel. He has had a good car all day. Chris Bob.
Tony Stewart, that contact he had with the wall did make his car tight in the center and loose off. Small adjustments, and Tony Stewart is off pit road.
Reed Sorensen leads for the first time today. There's Montoya's stop. He's in a little close to the wall, is he, Larry?
He's very close, which makes it hard to get to the jack underneath there and hard to get those tires back on and off. Matt?
And Juan Pablo Montoya's crew already completed service on his 42. He said the car was really loose at the beginning of the run, but as the fuel burned off, it started to tighten up. The car wasn't too bad near the end of that run.
Man, I thought Gordon was going to run over Dale Jr. there. Jr. just come out of the pits. Wasn't quite up to speed, and boy, Jeff really ran up on him hard. And right behind these two guys at this time is Jimmy Johnson. He did a much better job on pit out that time. Didn't let Gordon and then get so far away from him.
Getting up to speed a lot quicker.
Right.
Our Fox 3D showed that on the last pit stop, Jeff Gordon was much quicker through the gears and accelerating up to speed.
Watch it. I'll tell you, good thing, Junior. I think the spotter must have said, give him some room, go up, go up. Because Jeff Gordon was headed for a collision.
The 24 car had pitted about 2 laps earlier than the 8 car, but right now, this is we've cycled through the green flag stop, so Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, he is back in the lead of this race. Everyone has been to pit road.
18 cars on the lead lap in Texas, 172 complete. Junior, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson.
You got to be willing to fight for it.
Welcome back to Texas, more than halfway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has the lead. He's moved up from 40th to 11th in points in the last 4 races. And let's quickly recap how he got here. A star-studded lineup through the race today. Pole sitter Jeff Gordon went 146 laps, more than all of his previous 12 races combined at Texas, leading 52 straight in this race. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart, who called his car junk early and then said, scraping the wall there, this car is not so bad, has threatened to lead. But Junior came from 12th on lap 154 to take the lead. It's been 32 races since Junior's last win. He won in Richmond last year. And our Domino's race summary shows 9 different lead changes, 6 leaders, an impressive group of leaders, as right now it's Junior, Gordon, Jimmy, Kurt Busch, and then Jeff Burton and Jeff Hammond, the largest green flag run, or the lengthiest, I should say, 66 laps. And based on where Junior is, holding serve after that last pit stop, a key to the rest of this race.
I think it's a key to the rest of the race. I think the pits crews have got to be on for the remainder of this race. They've got to make the right kind of adjustments. You know, Larry McReynolds talking about keys to winning this race. Make sure you make the right pits, keep it up the track. But the key right now also could be engine durability. As we get further in this race, it really starts to take its toll on his engine.
Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
153 to go here, and Junior leads Jeff Gordon by just 0.7 of a second. Not what you'd call a comfortable lead.
No, but it's kind of the ebb and flow of this race. Jeff Gordon dominates for a while. Junior's going to dominate for a while. It's the team that can figure out where to be at the end of this deal with the right changes and adjustments that's going to be in victory circle.
And Larry, how do you get around to deciding what does that car want next? Well, because that'll be the decision that wins the race.
Yes, it will. I mean, what you've done, you have gathered data through this entire race. And you go back to that notebook like Darrell was talking about earlier, and what you're going to continue to do is get information from that driver. What was it like the first 10 or 15 laps of a run? What was it like late in the run? And that'll help you make the decisions.
You always know when you're at one of Bruton Smith's tracks. We're not worthy. They just sent over a big plate of shrimp cocktail, and here come the Dove bars. Folks in the pits, we'll send some along. It'll be a little bit.
This is a rare thing for us, though.
Yes. Trouble on Matt Kenseth.
Well, he had a problem with the right rear yesterday that almost took him out of the show.
Dick Bergman.
Well, he may have a flat left rear tire right now. They're not sure what's going on. The crew is not yet up on the wall, but he has radioed his concern, Kenseth has.
And Dick, he's running in the 7th position right now. See right behind him, Reed Sorensen in that 41 car. That's a battle for position. Speaking of battle for position, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 has caught his teammate Jeff Gordon in the 24. They're about 3/4 of a second behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about on the 24 car. He's been losing time after every pit stop. He was running in the 30, 80s, and 90s. Last time out, he was running in the 31 flats. Now he's running 31-20. They're not keeping up with the racetrack.
Dave Blaney moves up and out of the way of the lead lap cars. Steve?
And Mike, we've been talking about those adjustments. The problem for Jeff Gordon, he's been staying tight for most of the race, but now he's loose getting in the corners.
That's what happens. When you're tight off, you keep taking wedge out, making changes to help the tight off. All of a sudden, the thing is spinning out, getting in the corner.
40% of you said Jeff Gordon would get his first Texas win today. Of course, we did pose the question before Dale Jr. took the lead away.
And Mike, something else, this racetrack very well in the last 50 to 75 laps as we get down to those last 1 or 2 pit stops. It may go through some other transition going the other direction. I think we'll start getting some shade down in turn 1 and 2. That's going to cool the track down. That's going to make it go through some changes. Now, a battle, I know we've been watching battles for first, battles for second, third, but a battle that I've been watching all the way back in about the 15th position, right in front of our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., is 3 cars fighting to stay on the lead lap. Teammates David Stremme and Juan Pablo Montoya, as well as Brian Vickers in an 83 car. All those guys are on the lead lap. How Montoya got back that far, you made the note a while ago, Mike. A 27-second pit stop took him from a half a lap down to almost getting lapped.
I tell you, Junior's having a tough time, though, with these cars. It's really costing him, and Gordon's closing back up on him. Junior's car doesn't look like it's quite as good as it was.
The reason Montoya's stop was so long, rookie mistake. He pulled in too close to the pit wall for them to be able to change the left side tires quickly.
And Mike, you and Darrell and I sat down with Juan about a month and a half ago, and he was very honest in saying one of the things he's struggling with still is pit road. He's not used to 40-something cars being on pit road at one time and guys jumping across a wall at him.
Formula One, he's not used to having 2 cars on pit road at the same time. His young teammate, though, is having quite the day. Reed Sorensen has flirted with the top 5. He's currently in 7th place, but watch this gaggle that he was in a moment ago.
Used Robbie Gordon, the 7, as a pick to get by Greg Biffle in the 16 car. Greg Biffle in the 16, that was a battle for position with Reed Sorensen in the 41.
Best career finish of 5th. He's got a chance to match or exceed that today. 144 laps to go in Texas. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jeff Gordon by 0.8 of a second.
NASCAR Next Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Wendy's new 4-alarm spicy chicken sandwich. By the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. By Singular, now the new AT&T. And by Toyota, moving forward.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jeff Gordon by 2 seconds. He go all the way back to lap 1 for Allstate Good Hands
Go inside,
driver.
inside, way inside. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Had to miss a crowd of spinning race cars. But on behalf of Sauter, Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Are you in good hands? Jeff Gordon has his hands full. Jimmy Johnson has been all over him lap after lap and cannot get by.
They just put Brian Vickers in the mix. He just went a lap down. But I think he's just reminding his old teammates that, you know, we used to be teammates.
Of course, Brian Vickers trying to stay the very first car 1 lap down. If we do get a caution here with 137 laps to go, he would be back on the lead lap. He actually got the free pass a little earlier in the race.
You know, he and Doug have done a great job. Once they get in the race, their car is usually pretty competitive. Doug Ricker.
Side by side for second. Johnson may prevail. Nope, Gordon gets a good run up off the corner, and they're dead even middle of the backstretch once again.
Timmy will get him here, though.
This picks up right about where it left off at Martinsville. Positions reversed. Jimmy's good in the middle, and Jeff is good coming off the corner.
And one reason Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, is so good coming off the corner, he's running that high line. He can keep the engine wound up there, the RPM up.
Yeah, they'll swap. You take the bottom, I'll take the top.
Jeff Burton behind them by about 3/4 of a second, and then Kurt Busch, the highest running Dodge in the race. His number 2 is 5th. Let's go to his pit.
Earlier in the race, you heard Kurt Busch say he's a baseball fan. Well, this year he has been swinging for the fence, but he has had a lot of home runs taken away. Good runs in Daytona, Las Vegas, Atlanta, but no good results. Well, the forecast starting to look that way a little bit for this fantastic car. Kurt just got on the radio and said the changes they made are not making me turn any better. In fact, they're making me loose, snapping loose on the straightaway. Dick Berggren.
Well, Greg Biffle has engine problems. He has just sent to the crew the information that the engine is skipping, and before that he said he thought it was starting to get ready to blow up.
We talked about that at the top of the show. This place is very, very hard on engines, and we just had talked about a car that was running in the top 10, Reed Sorensen in the 41 car. I'm sure we'll find out what exactly his problem was, but he has taken his car to the garage here. He came down pit road, never hesitated. We are hearing that it was an engine failure on the 41 car.
And we're averaging almost 150 miles an hour in this race, and we haven't had very many cautions, and that just keeps those engines wound up that much longer.
We do need to make note that Sterling Marlin in the 14 car, Kyle Petty in the 45, David Reagan in the 6, they are back out on the racetrack now after having problems earlier.
Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson fight for second. I wonder if that's a little bit of back at you after 2 weeks ago at Martinsville. We'll explore that in a bit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is your leader by 1.4 seconds, Steve.
And Mikey's having a lot of fun right now. His pit crew has just had back-to-back sub-13-second pit stops. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. just told his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., I don't know if the high side is faster, but it sure is fun.
I like it when I'm having fun, boys.
Dale Jr.'s stock going up. He is in a renewal year and right now in contract negotiations with his team.
Back in Texas, 125 laps to go. It's NASCAR on Fox. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Burton, and Jeff Gordon. Time for the Domino's Hot Lap this week. A new twist. The official pizza of NASCAR delivering the 00 Domino's Pizza Toyota to the Talladega race with a paint scheme based on a favorite Domino's pizza. Cast your vote for the paint scheme that you want to see on the car in Talladega. Text the letter of the corresponding paint scheme to Fox SP on your wireless phone. And our caution is out here at the Great American Speedway.
car out there of Gilliland's got a flat right front tire, bringing the caution out, Chris.
6 leaders, 9 different lead changes, and that would be our 4th caution of this race. Right now, let's check in with Jeff Hammond for our safety report.
Several years ago, NASCAR decided they need to paint the drive shafts white in the event that they came unhooked. The competitors could better avoid them. Also, they've added safety straps to keep that from happening. Another one up toward the front to better protect the driver. But they've gone one step better now with the COT car, and that is a totally enclosed drive shaft tunnel. Now, drive shaft should not be able to get to the racetrack if it falls down, but what we like more than anything else is the fact that it better protects the driver. These drive shafts are turning better than 16,000 RPM, and if one of them was happen to come loose, well, if you can keep it enclosed and keep it off the racetrack, we can better protect not only the driver, the other fellow competitors, but the fans in the stands.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Let's head back upstairs for that safety report. And, Mike, check on who benefits most from these pit stops.
Well, Chris, there's no doubt when you look at cars like Juan Pablo Montoya, Carl Edwards, Tony Raines, they were just about to get lapped by Dale Earnhardt Jr. So, Dale, you got to believe those guys were really wanting to see this caution flag here. I think Jeff Gordon was ready for one, too. We got the report. He felt like his front tires had completely gone away on that 24.
Oh, yeah. He was falling back quite a bit there just before that caution came out.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Kyle Busch will enter pit road in the 6th position, Mike. The car is just a little bit loose in throttle, but his biggest problem in this backup car is the seat doesn't fit him well, and he's got a backache as a result. And he said as soon as the race is over, he wants ice. But right now, he wants 4 tires and fuel. No changes to the chassis. Yet again, they have not put a wrench in this thing on several pit stops. Christoph.
Kurt Busch does need to make changes. In fact, they need to undo the changes they made on the last stop, plus add a little bit of air in the right rear. He needs more dig in the center of the turns. Matt.
Jimmy Johnson to give me more of what you gave me last time. It really improved the race car. That was a wedge and a track bar adjustment. Great stop by Burton's team as well. Small air pressure change to the front.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, I appreciate what you guys have done for the car. It's gotten better. I'm just a little bit tight. So they reversed a tire pressure change as well. And Jeff Gordon said, as you mentioned, Larry Mack, my front tires are gone, guys. Do something to get it back the way it was before.
And Steve, I think they paid the price as far as the battle off pit road, but I'm sure maybe they took a little extra time to make those right adjustments.
Jeff Burton almost gained another spot in this race off pit road. Pretty close there. 212 complete in the Samsung 500.
NASCAR Next Up Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy. The most wins in NASCAR history. An American Revolution.
Rivalry. One who competes or attempts to outdo another.
The latest chapter in the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry was about to begin. He loops out the left field. Going to be a tough play. Jeter on the run, makes the play.
Ortiz in the deep right field. Back is Sheffield. We'll see you later tonight.
There's a drive on the line to left field. Come on, Moose.
Next week, Yankees, Red Sox, and Cardinals, Cubs, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. The rivalry is back on Fox Saturday Baseball.
A big sports Saturday on Fox. Baseball, then racing. And you see car 42 carrying the memorial decal for number 42, as this is a very special day in baseball, as you heard yesterday on Fox Saturday Baseball. It was on this date 60 years ago that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And Ken Griffey Jr. came up with the idea, asked Bud Selig could he wear number 42 in tribute to Robinson. Not only did Selig say yes, he encouraged as many major leaguers as wished to follow suit. 5 complete teams and 150 players are wearing number 42 in tribute to a great player, the man who did a great thing for sports across America, Jackie Robinson. He was followed by Larry Doby a couple of months later in the American League. And professional sports began to be integrated throughout America and in NASCAR. Wendell Scott from Danville, Virginia, the first African-American to regularly drive on the circuit. In a largely southern sport, he had to endure many of the same taunts and tribulations that Robinson faced in the big cities, in the big leagues. But Wendell Scott persevered and won what is now a Nextel Cup race in Jacksonville, Florida in 1963.
Wendell was a sweet man and a hard worker. I mean, he did all the work on his car himself. He and his couple of his sons, that's all the crew he had. I'll never forget, I told you this before, on his fender, you used to have who the mechanic was? Had mechanic, me.
You know how Wendell got his first ride? It's a great little story. They were promoting a race in his hometown of Danville, Virginia, and the race promoter went to the chief of police, and he said, I need a black driver for the race to try to encourage some of the fans to attend. Who can you think of that we ought to go talk to? He said, you go see Wendell Scott. He said, he's the one we can't catch.
I like that.
From our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam, here's the restart, remembering Jackie Robinson, Wendell Scott, and all those other great sports pioneers. Let's crank it up. once again out front.
Well, at least 2 more. You can just, on the crank it up, you can just hear the guys how hard they are in the throttle all the time. I mean, they're just burping the things in the corner, right back wide open.
Boy, Joe Nemechek was almost hard into Greg Biffle coming off turn 4 there.
Tell you what, talking about both hands and feet up on the wheel, a car I've been watching, we rode with him just a second ago, Denny Hamlin at 11 car. He's trying to get up there as we ride with him here. He wants to catch that car right in front of Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car. Denny is 1 lap down back in 18th position. 140 laps ago, had to make an unscheduled stop for a loose wheel, trying to get up there to be the first car a lap down to get that lap back should we get a caution.
I think Casey Kane may have just brushed the wall coming off 4.
Something happened right in there. I don't know if it's he or the 66 car. Something happened.
Last year's winner here, Kane, slow at the back of the pack, may have bumped the wall coming off 4. But he continues, and this has not been a good day for Casey Kane. He is 2 laps off the pace in 30th place.
And won both races there last year. No, he won the first race there from the pole last year. I'm sorry.
Now here's what happened to Greg Biffle, and watch the 13 of Nemechek. They get together coming off 4 right there.
Now, Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he's still on the lead lap back in the 14th position. What put him in the back of the pack? We heard that maybe his motor was going sour. Actually, they had a battery problem. They elected on that last caution to come to pit road and change the battery. Chris Myers asked me who that caution benefited. Obviously, Greg Biffle able to change that battery under caution.
I think it also Kurt Busch, because he says his back's hurting. We hadn't had any cautions for you to get kind of set up in the seat, make some adjustments, and make yourself feel better.
Well, after the hit he had here Friday, he should be sore.
He should be. That was an incredible hard lick on the right side of the car.
But Darrell, what we're seeing with that 24 car right behind Kurt Busch and the 2, Jeff Gordon in the 24, is he seems to be able to really go hard on fresh tires. He drove right by Jeff Burton a while ago. Let's just see if that car stays under him on the end of this run.
Tony Stewart racing for NASCAR Day and running in 9th place right now, Krista.
Well, imagine being a crew member and hearing your driver come on the radio and saying right flat. That is exactly what happened down in the 20 pit right before that caution came out. But it wasn't Tony. You see, Tony was saying it, but he keyed his mic late. He was saying the number 38 has a right flat. The crew went crazy. The caution came out. Turned out Tony was fine. He just needed to rotate through the turns a little better. That's all.
Well, that's definitely a car they have had to make some pretty serious adjustments on since the drop of the green flag. Real aggressive on that first pit stop early in the race.
Matt Kenseth in 8th place. He is the highest running Ford in the race. Carl Edwards is 12th, Biffle 14th. 3 Fords on the lead lap.
And based on Matt Kenseth's performance in most races, him being that close to the front, he could win this thing. Because usually I think they're way back in 15th or 18th adjusting on it. Today he's in 8th adjusting on it.
But you know, right in front of Matt Kenseth, well, we have Johnny Sauter in the 70 car who's a lap down, but Mark Martin in the 01 car, remember, had the points lead 2 races ago, elected not to go to Bristol, not to go to Martinsville. That pretty much ended his streak of 621 consecutive starts, but he's back in this Army car, and guess what? He's back in the top 10 in this race, too.
And he's running a typical Mark Martin race, in my opinion, just kind of hanging around. Haven't heard much about him today. He's in the top 10. Wait till this thing's over with.
Well, he's hanging right behind this battle for 5th place. Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch. They're about 4.5 seconds behind the leader.
I think Mark's a really big race fan. He just likes to watch a lot of racing from his windshield.
Exactly.
16 cars on the lead lap, including Brian Vickers, who again got the free pass on that last caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jimmy Johnson by 2.5 seconds. There's the city of Dallas, a short drive from Texas Motor Speedway. We're located just north of the center of Fort Worth and just north of where the Tornadoes touched down here Friday night. A change at 2nd place, where Jimmy Johnson has fallen off the leaderboard. That Lowe's number 48 has dropped a cylinder.
And that was one of our keys to the race, engine durability. We're closing in on 100 miles to go. Now, I do need to stress, this is not one of the new R07 engines of Chevrolet. The only Hendrick car that has one in is Casey Mears, the 25.
And we hear there may also be problems on Johnson's teammate, Kyle Busch. Dick Berggren?
Yeah, he came on the radio just a couple of moments ago, Mike, and said he could smell the engine. And meanwhile, Matt Kenseth, who was away behind him, said he thought there might be a problem with the number 5's engine as well.
And you know, you say, well, that's odd. No, one of the things that the driver can do, he listens. So if the engine changes a tune, you know it. And he smells. You're constantly smelling things inside the car. And if something changes, then you realize there's something going on.
Jimmy Johnson comes in here 3rd in the points. His teammate Kyle Busch comes in here 5th in the points.
Boy, this has been a great battle. Tony Stewart and Juan Pablo Montoya since this last caution. Montoya's been all over Stewart like a cheap suit.
Man, I'm telling you.
Hasn't been able to make the pass.
What did you? I don't know what you say in Spanish to Juan Montoya, but man, he took off. What is it?
Andale.
Andale, not boogity, 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 but andale, 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 right?
I don't even know what boogity is in Spanish.
It's universal.
We'll get letters.
No, it's the same all over the world.
Boogity,
boogity, boogity is the same all over the world.
That's good.
That's a universal language.
But Mike, he had a great pit stop on that last caution. Reason he had a good pit stop then versus a while ago is he was in his pit box where the guys could get around the car and get things handled on the left side.
Now he's taking a higher line than Stewart. And they're closing up on Jimmy Johnson.
Well, that high line was what got him up there. And then he started trying to mess around a little bit, trying to get around Tony, and he lost a lot of ground. But here he is, looking underneath. And
using Johnson as a pick. And there he goes.
Here. Come on.
And here comes Stewart back at him.
Well, he got the run on the high side off turn 2, just like we've seen so many times. You're just able to keep that engine wound up
now,
there.
This is where you better be careful. Oh,
Stewart around.
Oh, I was just thinking that you might want to be real careful doing that.
Nowhere for Jimmy Johnson to go with that 48
All
car.
good. Tosses out.
I don't think Jimmy hit him. He did a little bit.
Yeah, he got him pretty good.
Sorry about that, Jimmy.
Montoya and Stewart side by side. Stewart goes around and is collected by Johnson.
And of course, what put Jimmy back that far was the fact of being down a cylinder.
Let's have a look.
What happens is Montoya goes down into turn 3 here really hard under Tony. He wants to try to clear him if he can, but when he gets in here, you watch. Car gets a little bit loose and scoots up the racetrack and gets against Tony, and around he goes. Drove it hard in there, and then the car starts to walk up the hill. A little bit of, you can see his hands in there really working the wheel. Didn't make a lot of contact, but just enough to send him around.
And Tony takes a pretty good hit from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, but I think it's in an area that it probably isn't going to hurt anything.
Yeah, he got him between the wheels, Darrell.
That's what it looked like, yeah. And you can see how the car just walks up the track. That car on the outside's just pulling him. Tony's just pulling Juan right up into him.
Look at Johnny Sauter in the 70s. Second time today, he gets the Good Hands Award. Missed that one, as did Bobby Labonte.
Let's see what the smoke was doing here. Now, you know, that seemed like relatively light contact.
Let's ride with Jimmy Johnson. The unavoidable, inevitable.
Dad, stay down.
See, Jimmy can't see right there. That's how.
Dick Berggren.
Stewart just came down.
Kyle Busch drives into his pit. There'll be no effort on this engine, but for the first time all day, we're going to see a wrench go in the back of the car. There it goes as they begin to adjust the chassis. Car has just gotten a little bit too tight, Krista.
Kurt Busch not only doing a dance out on the track, doing the dance in the chatter with his new crew chief, Troy Raker. The decision is a track bar and air pressure. He just needs a little more side bite. Matt.
Chassis adjustment already completed for Jeff Burton. He says the car is just really too tight down in turns 1 and 2. It's not aero, it's something else. Steve.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is away. Little or no adjustments. A quarter-pound air pressure adjustment. The car turning really good on the 8. Jeff Gordon in the 24 saying, I was good for a couple laps on that run, but now it's way too tight. They raised the track bar on the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
And Steve, they lost a ton of spots. You can see right there, 6 spots on pit road for that 24 pit stop.
I'm not sure what happened on the stop, but Gordon was right behind Junior coming down pit road and was not happy with the pace and was giving Junior a little push there like, come on, we got to go. Tony Stewart spins off of Juan Pablo Montoya and then gets tagged by Jimmy Johnson to bring out caution flag number 5.
NASCAR Next Star Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR.
UPS delivers the chance to manage your own free fantasy auto racing league. Go to foxsports.com. Jeff Hammond, how did Jeff Gordon lose 6 spots on pit road?
Well, Mike, we keep talking about how important these pit stops are, these final pit stops as far as track position is concerned. Well, when Jeff came in, it looked like a pretty normal stop, but they've had some problems. Last time in, they had trouble with the right rear, and it slowed them down. It cost them some positions, but when they come around, you see their guy on the right front, he's a little bit slow. Then he gets to the left front, and he actually has trouble, I think, getting the tire off. You see the jackman reach in to pull the tire away to try to speed the stop up, but it still cost him 6 positions. That's how important it is getting off pit road smoothly.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. remains the leader. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, Montoya, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, and Martin Truex, the top 10.
I'll be interested to see how this 2 car can handle the 8 car, because actually they've been the 2 best cars here in the last several laps. Kurt doesn't get off of turn 2 very well there, and his brother Kyle puts his bumper right up underneath of him, but looks like he's got it going now. A little slow off of 2, though.
And we definitely need to stress again, as we've been talking this entire race, those 2 cars, the 2 brothers running second, third, that's not the cars that were unloaded Friday morning when this track opened for inspection. Both of them crashed in practice. Both of them are backup cars. And we're riding with Denny Hamlin right now, still trying to get that lap back in 17th position. He's trying to get that free pass should we get a caution.
But you know what, Larry? A tip of the hat to those crews, because those cars came off the trailers fast, backup cars.
Jimmy Johnson's taken his car to the garage. Dick Bergman's with him.
Yeah, Jimmy's okay, but we want to give you an opportunity to take a look at our monitor here and talk us through the accident.
Well, Tony started spinning. On the back straightaway, I noticed 20 and 42 were kind of running into each other. It didn't look like Tony was too happy with the 42, and then went down the corner, and the 42 came up and got into him. At this point, I'm just trying to not get rear-ended, and unfortunately ran into the 20. So I think those guys had an issue that they were trying to sort out, and this was the end result.
Yeah, but here's the hard part. Where'd you need to go?
Well, I expected him to spin out of the way. I knew his momentum wasn't going to take him to the inside wall, so I stayed low on the track and was hopeful that he was going to slide back up the track, and just didn't work out. But we were limping around with the wounded engine, so just kind of put us out of our misery there.
And driving blind. But the crew behind us is working hard on the car, Mark. They're going to try to get him back out. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Dick. Jimmy Johnson, number 3 in the Nextel Cup standings coming into this race in the garage, along with Reed Sorensen, Mike Bliss, Kenny Wallace, and J.J. Yaley.
I'll tell you, Tony Stewart, Larry, is just not having a very good day, and most of his trouble is off turn 4. Hit the wall earlier there, and he and Joe Nemechek just made serious contact as they left turn 4. You see Tony, I mean, he hits Joe really hard, and if we can see the right rear of his car, it just about tore the quarter panel off of the thing. See it going down in the corner there. So he's had some issues today.
Now, even after that spin, all the damage you see there on the left side, he's still on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap, 16th, about 9 seconds.
Going down or something.
Now, Kurt Busch had caught Dale Jr. to within a car length. Now Jr. stretches it out a little bit further.
But that 2 car is awfully good right now. In fact, you look at the last lap these guys ran, he was the only car in the 29-second bracket. You can see how he just beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the throttle.
Jr. pushed way up the hill and had to get out of the throttle, Larry. Opened the door for Kurt to go by.
Kurt Busch becomes the 7th different leader of this race.
That 2-car, though, this is the best run they've had since February. And here comes Tony Stewart to pit road.
Yeah, he's not even had a top 5 finish since Talladega back last October, where he finished 3rd, Kurt Busch.
Krista?
Tony having all sorts of trouble today. Yeah, you know, the turn 4 has really been the issue for him right now. Spotter got on the radio and said, man, I don't know if we're going to tear this whole car up. A right rear tire going flat, the crew making the changes. Also working with a new front carrier this week, Scott Merritt, his very first Nextel Cup race.
I mean, definitely he has had a decent day gone bad here over the last 10 or 15 laps. They had to be very aggressive with the adjustments on this car all day long.
There you see the damage to the right rear.
It's sure not the same car he had here last November when he led, what, 250 laps of the race?
Same car.
Same car.
Something
not
different.
Not acting the same.
But I think that puts a period on why we've had 12 different winners here. You look at the 2 guys that won the races here last year, Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, not really even contenders today.
Well, and the other part of that, Larry, is how many times has this track been... Whoa, Stewart!
Oh, he's in trouble again. Turn 4 again.
Caution waves.
Oh, and he got Dale Jr. Kyle Busch. Kyle just got into Jr.
That was the 2nd and 3rd place car.
Was being the key word.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, what's torn up on Junior's car doesn't include the spoiler, so if they pull that stuff off, he can race it like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
This place is so dependent on aero. There you see Kyle Busch going to the garage area. So obviously the drive for 5 wins in a row, Hendrick Motorsports has taken a huge hit here over the last few laps.
Watch Tony Stewart. He drives into turn 3 really, really hard. Runs at Kurt Busch here to try to get a run on him, and the car gets loose. And boy, when it does, around she goes, and the next thing you know, he's got company.
And remember, he saves it. He's okay. Look behind him.
I think that the 5 ran into the back of the 8. 8 gets slowed down. The 5 doesn't.
No
Holy
kidding.
cow, lifted Junior's car all the way off the ground. Yeah, Junior's car's got a little bit more than cosmetic damage. That's probably got the track bar all bowed up and bound up now.
Riding with Tony. Look at the car control here. He spins it, saves it, gets going. Now, let's ride with Dale Jr. We talked earlier about Kyle Busch flat out or half turned over. Sadly, both.
That was a serious lick.
Our Fox Extra Slow-Mo replay.
Boy, isn't it funny how the fortunes of a race turn? I mean, Jimmy Johnson, all of a sudden, he's in the garage. Here's our leader that's led most of this race, Dale Jr. He's crashed. Tony Stewart's crashed. Kurt Busch has crashed. Kyle Busch, I mean.
Steve, how bad is it?
Well, Mike, I was just listening to Dale Earnhardt Jr. talk to Tony Eury Jr. Tony Eury Jr. had said, take the hammer to the right rear, and Dale said, be easy on it now, be easy on it. In other words, Dale Jr. thinks he can still drive it. Before they even got close to pit road, Tony Eury Jr. had told every single member of the over-the-wall crew where to start working on this race car.
If he didn't bend the rear clip, but as hard as he got hit, I can't imagine it didn't bend the rear clip. Where the track bar can still work up and down, he might be okay.
That's true. And aerodynamically, it didn't touch the rear spoiler.
It's better this way. Get rid of that rear bumper, they go faster.
You'll go then, especially down the straightaway, that's for sure.
If he didn't get any chassis damage, he might be okay.
Now, while we were showing all those replays, all of our leaders did come to pit road, and I'm pretty confident in saying what Robbie Reiser, the crew chief for Matt Kenseth, did, Dick Bergman, only 10 laps on their tires, looked like he wanted to lead by changing 2 tires, Dick.
You got it, Larry McReynolds. That's exactly what he did. He changed the right size only for track position.
Well, he ain't going to have the lead because Kurt Busch stayed out.
Did not pit, yes, with the 2 car. Again, it had only been about 10 laps since we were to pit road, and Jeff Gordon, Steve Letarte, the 24 car, they also changed just 2 tires, and you see their teammate right there, Kyle Busch in the 5 trying to make repairs. We've got 80 laps to go in this race.
Krista.
Well, when we talked with Troy Rake earlier this week, we warned him, hey, if we're talking to you, that's probably a good thing because it means you're up front. But you guys chose not to come in. Why?
We only got 8 laps on the tires right now, and the longer we run, the more we run away from them guys. So everybody decided we'd be better off staying out.
Well, your crew wants to know when you're going to pull out the aviator shades. Kurt's flying. What about you?
Right over there. When we're over there.
Victory lane. That's what we're looking for. Back upstairs.
Now, another reason some of these guys elected, like Kurt Busch, to stay out, some of those guys changed 2 tires, it didn't change the schedule of pit stops. It's still a one-stop race for everyone to the end of the race.
I like that guy lurking in second. What about that?
Mark Martin.
What about that?
The Army of One is about ready to go to war.
How quickly things change here in Texas.
Today's race on Fox is sponsored by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. By Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman, available at Sears. By State Farm, great service, great rates. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. And by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we'll pick you up. 78 laps to go. Q Motor Oil race summary. 7 leaders, 10 lead changes. Jeff Gordon has led the most laps, 146, and you saw that Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading some 96 laps before problems occurred. Let's do a quick recap in the last few moments here. 96 laps to go. The trouble started. This is a battle for 9th and 10th. Juan Pablo Montoya on the 42 car with Tony Stewart gets into Tony, who slips inside. Look at Jimmy Johnson. His vision blocked right into Tony Stewart. As you heard Jimmy tell us, his car was having problems anyway. That Hendrick car out of the race. And then behind that, Dale Earnhardt Jr. run into by Kyle Busch. We can only assume that his vision was blocked as well. Jeff Hammond in our 3D version to help get a better view of what Kyle did as we look at the speeds here to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And the key thing right here, 109 miles an hour by Dale Jr. He was slowing up trying to see where Tony was going. Busch didn't get slowed down, 150 miles an hour. He gets in the back of the 8 car, does a lot of damage to both cars. Kyle's behind the wall, and now the 8 car has got damage.
All right, guys, we ain't too bad. Don't be panicking. You see what I got to fix? I need my left front fender fixed. I need my right rear quarter fixed. Get the bumper cover off. This spoiler is still good. You're still in it, boys.
All right, so Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking to his crew, encouraging them. Currently 15th. Mark Martin, after a couple of weeks off, back up to 2nd place.
Yeah, no surprise right there. He's been sitting back there lurking all day. He's got that 01 car back up there in position once again to try to win a race.
Kurt Busch, your leader, with 77 laps to go. Let's rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
So Kyle Busch in the garage. Tony Stewart able to continue, as is Dale Jr. And we'll have 15 cars on the lead lap. Jamie McMurray got the free pass.
And I tell you what has been somewhat of a dismal year for Roush Fenway Racing. Matt Kenseth wins Fontana somewhat by process of elimination, but right adjustments. We have 4 of the 5 Roush cars up in the top 8 right now.
Green flag. And let me correct McMurray on the last caution. Denny Hamlin finally got in position to get the free pass, and Hamlin is back on the lead lap.
Took him almost 200 laps.
Riding with Jeff Burton around Elliott Sadler.
Man, Sadler's blocking the track. He can't go anywhere. He's caught in the middle.
He's just hunting a hole to get in. He's hunting that spotter to say clear.
Yeah. Either side right now.
Not going to hear it for a while. He is 1 lap down.
Boy, that's a sick feeling when they go by you on both sides.
Riding with Juan Pablo Montoya up in the 9th position.
Matt?
Mike, on that last pit stop, while Jeff Burton took on 2 tires, Montoya's team went with the 4-tire change to keep the car consistent for him. He said the car was a little bit tight in traffic, so they left it alone for this final run here. The final pit window should open around lap 277 to 280.
So that's about 20 laps from now. We may expect final stops.
It definitely is a one-stop race. Now, right after that restart, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car drove by his old teammate of Mark Martin in the 01 to take that 2nd spot away.
I think that's a good call to put 4 tires on Juan, because I think he needs that for the maneuverability. He is really driving that car hard, and he's driving it all over the racetrack. I don't mean that in a bad way. He's been high, he's been low, but he's gotten a lot out of that thing lately.
And we got some Fords starting to make some bold moves here. Matt Kenseth in second, and 3 more of them in the top 10, Edwards, Biffle, and McMurray.
And David Gilliland there, he's back in the 20th position, 2 laps down, had that tire problem earlier, brought a caution out.
Kurt Busch's car owner, Roger Penske's had some success here with the Indy Racing League cars, and Kurt's car is starting to look like one of Roger's IRL pointy cars. It is taken off and pulling away from the field.
Might look like the car did yesterday in Long Beach, too. His cars ran first and second out there yesterday. And by the way, while I'm thinking of it, I want to say hi to John Force. Missed his first race in over 20 years. And that team has had some real, heartaches and issues over the last couple of weeks with Eric Medlin. And I want to say hi to his dad, John. They're sweet people. And we're praying for you guys.
The Force is racing with a heavy heart.
Good news is his daughter Ashley qualified well up into the top 5.
Third, I think she was.
Now we do need to mention that Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car just came back out of the garage area. We could see smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe. As he left pit road, he was too fast exiting, so he'll have to come back to pit road for a pass-through penalty. Just kind of add an insult to injury, I guess you might say.
Well, he's 23 laps down, and the next closest car is Ricky Rudd, 12 laps down. With 70 to go, they have a chance to pick up a couple of positions, but not a big chance.
Can't tell you how many times that happens. Work on the car in the garage, come out of the garage, go back out on the racetrack. I guess you're just not thinking about, you're wrecked, I'm laps down, and don't even think about pit road speed.
As we look at Kurt Busch up there in the 2-car leading the race, Chris DeVota reported on this earlier in the race. And again, our thoughts and prayers, well wishes go out to Roy McCauley, his crew chief, who was elected to take a leave of absence from the racetrack. His wife, Amy, has been diagnosed with leukemia, took somewhat of a turn for the worse over the Easter weekend. Roy spending time where he should be with his wife, Amy, and that's how Troy Raker, who is one of the chassis engineers, is up on the pit box. And Roy, we know you're tuned in, and our thoughts and prayers are with you and Amy both.
Raker kind of looked like Kyle Petty to me, sitting up there. Looked like a professor.
Yes.
Well, he's been an engineer for Ford for a number of years before moving to Penske Racing not too long ago.
Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Mark Martin. One thing they all have in common is all 3 of them either do or did race and win for Jack Roush. Let's get down to our Ford cutaway car and Jeff Hammond.
Mike, Darrell and Larry have been talking about the damage on the 8 car, what kind of effects it may have to him. We've already seen the quarter panels are in pretty good shape. They straighten those out. And where that has an effect is the side force on the car when it gets into the turn. Losing this rear bumper cover really doesn't matter. It lets the air escape. It may affect the guys behind him more than Dale Jr. But the key was the possibility of damaging the rear clip and having a problem with the track bar as far as it working up and down and how it may affect the car as far as handling is concerned. Those are the things we'll have to watch over his next few laps and see whether or not the 8 car is going to be affected by this.
Yeah, he is, Jeff. He's not very, he's running at the very tail end of the field right now, and the car just doesn't look like it's anywhere near up to speed. And I couldn't imagine that he took the kind of hit he did from behind and not do some suspension damage.
Yeah, he's still on the lead lap, Darrell, but he's almost a full second off of what leader Kurt Busch is running right now.
Well, as we talked in the break, he was lucky that Busch's car submarined and the nose went under his rear bumper. If you have that kind of contact with the car of tomorrow, both those cars are in the garage wrecked.
Well, I think the tell of the tape was the differential in miles per hour. As Jeff Hammond and Chris Myers pointed out, you had about 30 to 40 miles difference that Kyle Busch was running faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm not sure it would make a huge difference either way there.
We attempted to interview Kyle Busch. His car is in the garage under repair, and he declined our request. Mark Martin is 3rd after a 2-race layoff, which means a 3-week vacation, counting the Easter break. Mark is back and feeling racing.
He is, and I guarantee he's saving just a little bit, too. He's not showing you everything he's got right now.
He is 3 seconds behind Kurt Busch.
Mark takes it to the edge. He just doesn't go over.
When you're racing ex-teammates, as we pointed out, Darrell, all the first 3 were teammates at Roush. Do you have a better idea of what to expect when you're battling somebody who used to be racing with you instead of against you?
I think it's like a football player maybe going to one of his teams he used to compete against. He almost has a sense about what play they're going to run next. And I think that's the way it is when you race against people that you spent time with. Pretty much got a sense about how they're going to race you, what kind of moves they're going to make, and what you can expect. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Biggest problem Mark Martin has right now, no longer going to be a problem, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. This pass happened on the front straightaway, but it started all the way over in turn 2. Gordon got a good run down the back straightaway, completed the pass as he came off 4 onto the front straightaway, moves Mark Martin back to the 4th position.
Kurt Busch, the leader, is the quickest car on the racetrack lap after lap here. Jeff Gordon right now is 2nd fastest. He's in 3rd place.
I want the Cub.
People in Texas, you do make you feel at home.
Kurt Busch continues to lead here in Texas. Next weekend, we move to Phoenix, and coverage begins Thursday with Nextel Cup qualifying and Busch Series practice here on Speed. Friday begins with Nextel Cup practice, then Busch Series qualifying, and more Nextel Cup practice also on Speed. Saturday, NASCAR race day and Speed, and then the Nextel Cup race. The Subway Fresh Fit 500 is on Fox in prime time, 8 p.m. Eastern, as NASCAR continues next weekend across the Fox networks.
When you got horns like that old dude had, you won't need no chrome horn, that's for sure.
Speaking of riding, roping, and racing.
Yeah, Hat, where's your cattle?
Let's see what's going on at the Hollywood Hotel.
Below the Hollywood Hotel, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, a Hollywood star, Kevin Alejandro from Sleeper Cell, and now we're going to see you in the new Fox show beginning tonight. It's called Drive.
Called Drive, yeah. It's high action, high drama, fast cars, racing for $32 million.
And you're one of the guys in an action drama racing where people will do anything to win.
Anything. That's what I think makes it so exciting. Anything to win.
Anything to win. Anything will take this guy.
All right, so if you're that desperate, we'll tune in. It's kind of, what, Prison Break on wheels at 200 miles an hour?
Prison Break Lost, 200 miles an hour on wheels. You gotta love it.
One of the actors you'll see in the new show on Fox, Drive. Check it out tonight.
Drive, that's going to be interesting.
Yes,
interesting series. Looking forward to seeing that.
Let me tell you what else is going to be interesting. Let's talk about our leader, Kurt Busch, in the 2 car. Remember, he elected to stay out on that last caution. He was last on pit road at lap 240. They have not been getting the greatest of fuel mileage. He's probably going to have to beat a pit road in about 8 to 10 laps. Everyone else, even the guys that changed just 2 tires, they can go about 10 to 13 laps further than that. Kurt Busch will be forced to come to pit road and then be on pins and needles. They do not get a caution between that period and when everyone else makes their green flag stop.
And those 2 tires, I know Jeff's complained about his car. They say he's not happy with it, but those 2 tires are paying dividends right now because he is nibbling away at Kurt Busch right now. He's about 2/10 quicker every lap.
But there's no question we're going to have about 35 to 40 laps to go. I think whether we get a caution or they stay green, you'll see all these guys get 4 tires on this next pit stop. And, of course, we always talk about it, and we've not had a lot of issues today. These guys get ready to make this green flag stop, knowing it could be their last stop. They're up on the wheel. The adrenaline's flowing. Everybody's telling them to get in here, get in here. You can't afford no penalty for speeding or no mistakes during your pit stop.
6th place battle. Greg Biffle in the Ford has been caught by David Stremmy's Dodge. Stremmy's had a good run today.
Well, Stremmy's there in the 7th. His teammate Juan Pablo Montoya is in 8th. And all those Ganassi cars continue to be impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't that many years ago. All 3 of those Ganassi cars with a lot of different drivers all finished in the top 5 here at Texas. And remember, Reed Sorensen, their 3rd teammate in the 41 car, was up in the top 10 until he had engine problems earlier.
I got to give a tip of the hat to Stremme. I mean, you think about the kind of year he had last year, and his job is in jeopardy.
Yes.
And, Buddy, I tell you what, they made a couple of changes. What is Stephen Lane?
Steve Lane just
Stephen Lane became his crew chief. They got something going, and now with Juan there, they have a real great relationship. This kid is on it.
Speaking of on it, that 42 car. underlay.
Speaking of his buddy, here he comes.
6th, 7th, and 8th place. And they are running about 10 seconds behind Kurt Busch, who has finished in the top 10 in 6 of 8 races here.
Texas. You know, I dated a girl from Texas once. You gotta love those cowgirls. Gotta love them. And cows, too. Come on, Casey. Thought you won Texas last year. Keep up. Since Jimmy's number is 48, does that mean he's twice as good as you, Jeff Gordon? Jeff Gordon. I dated a girl from Texas once. It wasn't Cindy, was it? It what? You too? Yeah. Weird. Friendly girl.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Ford, bold moves, they happen every day. By Subway restaurants, Subway, eat fresh. And by Nextel, only from Sprint, helping NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get more done.
Debris in turn 4 has put us under caution as Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car is pushed to the garage, and that caution comes out 1 lap after race leader Kurt Busch comes in to make his green flag pit stop. So he will be either on the tail end of the lead lap or a lap down. We'll see how it's scored and see whether he pits again and what the rest of the leaders do. There is the debris, and folks, if we can see it, we'll show it. So there's what has put us under caution for the 7th time today.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen here. He's going, as you see his stand-in crew chief Troy Raker, he's going to be a lap down right now. But obviously all of our other leaders will come to pit road. He will stay out, which will put him right behind the pace car when we restart this race at the tail end of the lead lap. Not the greatest position to be in, probably with about 35 or 36 laps to go.
But get a quick caution. There's only 14 cars on the lead lap.
Now this also happened while we were in break. Jeff Gordon trying to chase down Kurt Busch.
That may be where a little bit of debris came from, guys. Gordon was definitely closing on Kurt, but Kurt's tires were pretty much shot, I'd say.
So the pits will be open, and this could be the final stop of the day. Well, here's good news. Kurt Busch gets the free pass. He's back on the lead lap. Here's Dick Berggren.
And I'm in Matt Kenseth's pit, and this is a big one. This is also one of the very best pit stops in all of big league racing. They are not going to mess with the chassis, but they are going to try to fix his windshield. There it goes. Matt had been complaining that he simply couldn't see. To Matt.
And this is the money stop for both the 31 and 42 teams. Burton really didn't know exactly how far to go on adjustments because it took 2 tires the last stop. 4-tire change this stop for both the 31 and 42, Steve.
Jeff Gordon will get 4 tires this time, Matt. They took 2 on the last stop. Gordon also said to Steve Letarte, check the deck lid. I did hit the wall. Krista.
Absolute heartbreak in the 2 pit when that caution came out. They were deciding what they could do. The tires only have a lap on them. Obviously, they're going to stay out, but they do get that break with the lucky dog. So a little bit of a chance here for the 2 team, but you can see their heads hung a little bit. Definite frustration in the 2 pit.
I know they don't have a lot of laps left, but he's not in that bad a shape when you're going to restart in 14th place. So that's a good news for him.
How about that race off pit road? Jeff Gordon, by sitting on the pole, by virtue of the field being set by points, he got that pit selection. That's what won him the battle off pit road.
Been pretty good out there all day long, matter of fact.
Get ready. Crank it up, Ken. They fired up. All right. Get ready. Nothing too crazy to the line, bud. Ready, 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 green. Green flag, Hold your line, hold your line, hold your line, hold your line. Inside the wrecking behind you. Caution.
Welcome back to Texas. We'll get you ready for the restart with this Napa race summary. 38 laps to go. Jeff Gordon who has led the most laps today, out in front. 7 cautions for 33 laps, 7 different leaders, 11 lead changes. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the garage along with Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and others. As we get set for the restart, the only driver in the top 5 who has not won at Texas is our race leader, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and I really don't see, unless Mark's been saving a whole lot, I don't see anybody having a whole lot for Jeff Gordon, to tell you the truth. He's had the best car all day, other than that period of time when Dale Jr. was better than him.
12 races, 12 different faces in victory lane. Our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam gives you the restart. We're back under green.
A little crowded there in turn 1.
3 wide.
David Gilliland, he just got sandwiched.
But I think Matt Kenseth in that 17 car knows if he wants to get up there and race with Jeff Gordon, he needs to get it done early. He just drives by Mark Martin in the 01 car.
And here comes Jeff Burton trying to battle, but he's got nowhere to go. Trying to get Mark Martin.
But this is a classic 17 race. Same thing he did yesterday.
Dick?
Well, Mark Martin has bragged all year long about his pit crew and pit strategy, as well he might, Mark, because on the last stop he picked up a spot. The stop before that he picked up 2 spots. Mark right now has had top 5 finishes in all but one of the races he has started, and every time he gets out of the car, he'll tell you the pit crew is responsible.
They get the job done every time he comes to pit road. I think the performance of that car, it's just now starting to show up that they have great pit stops.
Larry, I tell you, I like what I'm seeing now. That yellow car running in 2nd place. He hadn't shown that much speed all day long. Jeff Gordon's been better, but right now that 17 is hanging with him.
4th place battle here. Biffle has passed Burton. Another couple of ex-teammates at Roush Racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been retired from the race. 3rd DNF of 2007 for Jr.
I tell you what, I can't say enough about this Hall of Fame racing. Tony Raines and this DLP HD TV been on the lead lap all day long, by far looking at their best run of the season, sitting there in 12th position right now.
Attaboy for Raines, for Brian Vickers with the Toyota. When they've made the race, they've run well, and he's on the lead lap.
Yep. Vickers crew chief, you know, Doug Richard, he's won this race with Greg Biffle, so they've run very well.
Now this is a battle for the 7th position. Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 car, Jamie McMurray in that 26. Going at it right here with 33 laps to go. Now we do need to update you on Kurt Busch, that situation. You mentioned, Mike, he got the free pass.
There you go.
They elected to stay out, but regardless, the rule is when you get the free pass, you restart the race at the tail end of the longest line.
So Busch started 14th, restarted 14th. He has gained 1 position. Dick Bergman.
And Junior joins an all-star junkyard here in the garage area. How big a heartbreak is this?
It's not that big. We had a great race car. I'm proud of my team. All the guys at the shop should be really, really proud of the car that they brought to the racetrack. The motor was fantastic. I might have beat on the motor a little bit on the restarts. I spun the tires in 2nd gear, so I would turn a little bit more RPMs in 3rd, trying to maximize what I could get there. But normally when you tear a car up and spin around stuff, you can roll the motor backwards and do some damage there, and that's probably what happened. But everybody should be really happy at DEI. We had a really, really fast car. We just haven't had any luck, and one of these days it'll be our day, and we'll be able to celebrate. And we just got to keep our heads up while we got this momentum. We got these kind of race cars. Keep your head up and take advantage each weekend.
Well, you had the red shirts of the grandstand on their feet for a good while this afternoon. Congratulations on a good run.
And guys, what I'm hearing in his interview right there as we watch the battle for 3rd between Mark Martin and Greg Biffle, is you look at the first 5 races of this year, he only led 1 lap. Then he led 137 at Martinsville. He led 96 today, 2 different cars. He has confidence over what that team's doing.
Well, yeah, and you want the driver. He's got to be the cheerleader. He's up, team's up. And right now it sounds like Junior is up.
And earlier this year he'd been saying we don't have the parts and pieces, we don't have the resources we need. Today he did. Brian Vickers in the 83, still on the lead lap, running in 14th, man.
Solid and impressive run for Vickers and this new team. What he's hoping for now is that we see the green flag stay to the checkers. The reason, he's lost the clutch. He was just hoping not to get run over on that last restart. Right now running in 14th and just hoping to bring home a top 15 for this 83 team.
Matt Kenseth has radioed concern about his right rear tire, Dick.
And that's the second time today he has radioed that concern, so crew chief Robbie Reiser said better make sure this time, because the first time he thought it was going down. In fact, the right rear tire was just fine. But this time, Kenseth seems more certain than before that he has a tire losing air, and it's the right rear.
I just go back to yesterday. He was running along. He had a right rear tire that he thought was going down, and the tire blew out. And he spun and almost hit the wall.
I was away. Thanks.
I'd say he's a little gun shy.
I think he's I think he's probably feeling things that maybe aren't there.
That's Nextel helping NASCAR and NASCAR fans get things done. Who gets our Nextel getting it done call of the race?
Well, you know, I think that you got to give it to, you were going to say the 2-car, right? I don't know. I'm kind of like Mark Martin. I like the job he's done today.
And that, like you said, that crew, yeah. I'm going to go, maybe not a call of the race. I'm going to go a call of the weekend. Kurt Busch, that 2-car, they're here without their crew chief, Roy McCauley, who's home with his wife, Amy. They crashed in practice. They unloaded a backup car. They led this race, and had it not been for that caution back on lap 292, they obviously all weekend long, like Nextel, they've been getting it done.
I'm going to go with Montoya. He and David Stremmy's battled his teammate much of the day, but Montoya made that rookie mistake getting in the left side of his pit box. But every time they told him, leader's coming, you got to push the button, he has. He's responded, kept this number 42 not just on the lead lap, but in a position to where he might just get his second top 5 finish of the year.
Good call. Not sure Tony would agree, but good call.
12 drivers make the chase for the Nextel Cup. Montoya came in here 16th in points. Right now he is 13th. 14 points back of Mark Martin.
This is the first racetrack we've been to that he's actually raced on before. He ran the Busch Series race here back in the fall. Every other racetrack, he's had to look at a map just to see where it's located almost.
Did Jeff Gordon get in the wall again?
Well, let's see. Oh, yeah.
Greg Biffle just did.
Well, the whole right side of the 24 car is scraped up big time.
Boy, turn 4 has been busy today.
Cars just won't turn off that corner. Late in the race, slick.
Steve?
Yeah, I want to add to what DW said. It was like all of a sudden, Daryl, he said, I don't know what happened. I just got big time tight. Next thing I knew, I was in the wall.
What little I've driven here through the years, that's what this joint does. Got the wheels turned, you coming off the corner, everything's fine. Lose all the grip all at once.
And the thing I'm seeing right now as we see this battle between Jeff Burton and Mark Martin for 4th is right now Jeff Gordon, our leader, he's about the slowest of the top 10 or 12 cars as far as lap times. And you can see that 17 car just reeling him in slowly but surely. 22 laps to go.
Yeah, it damaged that car hit the wall hard. I look at the right side when he went by, and the right side tires are all scuffed up and the body's all banged in. That's a pretty hard lick there, boys. I'm sure it affected the right front fender, plus it looks more likely bent the toe, and the car's just not driving like he wants to do now by any means.
And Matt Kenseth really got through 1 and 2 good that last time. You can see he's about a car length behind Jeff Gordon in the 24 car.
Well, Matt may just have himself a sweep. Be the second one of the year for him.
Did it at Fontana. Kevin Harvick did it at Daytona. It seems to be the nature of the beast, and he just turns to the bottom here through 1 and 2. And he'll take the lead coming off 2, going down the back straightaway. Gordon's
got to be careful. Got to be careful right there, man. You get under the car on the outside of you. That's Jeff Gordon's car on the outside. I'm telling you.
And here's 3rd place, Jeff Burton, coming back after Greg Biffle. 2 Chevys, 2 Fords fight for the front 4 spots.
This track gets so slick and you lose so much grip late in the race on corner exit. That's exactly what happened. It's what happened to Tony when he wrecked. Almost happened to Matt Kenseth right there. He'll have to set Jeff up and get him in a different spot. But Jeff's definitely a set and duck right now.
What about Kenseth and that tire, Dick?
Well, Kenseth just came back on the radio, Mike, and said, I'm telling you, that right rear has a leak. So Kenseth in second spot, possible tire going down.
Right now, we're going to have 18 laps to go as they come to the stripe. There you see the battle on the right-hand side of your screen. That's a battle for the 7th position.
I just believe they run so much right rear spring in these cars here to make them turn that it makes that right rear feel like it's going away sometime.
Now, Greg Biffle, we saw him slap the wall coming out at turn 4. Mark Martin passed Biffle. Mark Martin passing him right now. Jeff Burton passed him, and Mark goes by as Kenseth has a look at the lead.
Yeah, this is the way.
Gordon gives him room.
This is the way to do it here now. You get on the outside.
And you should be able to carry that momentum off of turn 2, just like we saw Jeff Gordon do earlier. There you see Kenseth's able to get in the gas, stay in the gas, and he'll take the lead. We got battles all over the place.
Add the 8th place battle upper right, where Martin Truex passes David Stremme. And on the left, Mark Martin has gone by Greg Biffle. That's for 4th. Now, in between those two battles on top is Montoya. And Jeff Burton is about to catch him.
I think Jeff Burton is somebody that Matt Kenseth may have to worry about before this thing ends.
I think you're right.
Well, when I look at the lap times, there's no question Jeff Burton, that 31 car with 16 to go, he's got the fastest car on the track right now.
There's Burton. 1.3 seconds back of the leader.
And closing fast.
And Denny Hamlin, after fighting for 200-some laps to get back on the lead lap, he's now battling David Stremme for 9th.
But you know, Darrell, I can't help but think about, and you talked about this in the pre-race, Jeff Burton, a thinking man's race. I think he was conserving his race car, saving it. He knew he wanted to be here for the end of this thing. Just keep those guys in sight.
Jeff Burton's somebody you never want to. You always want to remember he's still on the. When he's still on the racetrack, he's still got a chance to win. You see right now, he's on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. These two guys are having a pretty good go of it here for 9th and 10th.
Give a call to Stremme. He's about to get his first career top 10 finish in his 45th Nextel Cup start.
Well, Denny Hamlin is going to knock him back to the 10th position, and the 11 car working on him as they go down the back straightaway. There'll be 13 to go next time. Here comes Jeff Burton in that 31 car. Drove to the bottom of that racetrack. He takes second place away from Gordon. Got his sights set on Matt Kenseth.
Plenty of time to run him down. Let's go.
You know, this kind of is reminiscent of Dover last year when Burton and Kenseth had such a great battle. Burton finally put the move on Kenseth to win the race. I think he may be able to do it again today.
Jeff Burton this year has finishes of 3rd, 4th, 15th at Vegas, his worst, 4th, 2nd, and 6th. Everything but a W, and he is 3 car lengths back of Matt Kenseth for that.
And just think about his teammates. They have had a terrible day, and here this 31 car is Richard Childress' car, right up there, set, poised to win this race.
And Mike, you were talking earlier, we've been talking all day long, 12 races, 12 different winners. Jeff Burton in the 31 car, he won the very first Texas race in 1997. In fact, it was his first career win. It looks like Matt Kenseth right now is set to try to keep that car on the bottom. You can see Jeff Burton on the 31 starting to work the high side.
But I know I keep referring to yesterday, but Kenseth was in the same battle yesterday with Denny Hamlin, and Kenseth made the pass on the outside, but then he had to go to the inside to block, and he ended up making the finish in the race on the outside because Hamlin couldn't make the pass on the inside.
So where do you want to be?
I want to be on the outside. You saw what happened to him over there.
Right.
Of course, Jeff Burton is so quick through the center of the corner if he ever gets position. But, man, that's the hard thing is get that position to clear that car and move up in front of him.
Yeah, he could not complete the pass at either end being on the bottom of the racetrack.
Here's one for the, you won't believe this. The 5 car is back on track. after being involved in that crash. The driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's interesting.
Sure is. Kyle apparently had left the racetrack thinking the car had been withdrawn. We're not sure of that. We're making that assumption. They needed a driver, and there was Junior.
We've got a battle for third here between Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and that 01 car. But while we're watching that battle, Jeff Burton just lost a lot of ground off turn 4, but he's fighting back over there in turn 1 and 2. There you see the battle on the left. Be 8 to go next time to the line.
I think Kenseth's having to do what he was going to save for these last few laps. Move up the racetrack, because you can't make that pass on the bottom. We saw that over there just a moment ago, although Mark Martin slides right on past Jeff Gordon there.
Well, true grit. Mark Martin takes over third place as Gordon pedals it just a bit.
And, you know, we talk about points. This is important for the Ginn Racing, the owner of this car, because he's 6 in owner points.
Kenseth a little wobble, and Burton a bigger wobble coming off turn 2.
That's happened twice in the last 2 laps. Once in turn 4, once in turn 2.
Kenseth has got to be careful not get too high up that hill. But as long as he runs that high line like that, I don't believe Burton can get him.
Jeff Burton's wife, Kim, looking on, charting the laps from the pit box, as many of the drivers' wives do.
You know why? It keeps them involved. It keeps them from sitting over in the motor coach worrying themselves to death. She's got a headset on. She knows what's going on.
Robbie Reiser, Jack Roush. As the laps wind down, Kenseth up the hill just a bit, way up the hill.
Yeah, that's a little bit too high up the hill right there.
Burton closes right back up. 6 to go.
Kenseth has had 2 nail biters in the last 2 days, I can tell you. He was in this same battle yesterday.
They have a pretty clean racetrack in front of them, and you just see he's starting to continue to work that high side. Burton can get there in the middle of the corner, but he can't complete the pass on the exit.
I believe if Burton could he gets through the center right here. Watch him. He's going to close, but then the momentum of that high line, and Kenseth's able to pull off.
It's 7th place battle on the right. Martin Truex keeps digging. Oh, Montoya slides it.
He's not going to give up.
Position.
Yeah, Martin was very kind to him there. Gave him a lot of room. I think this is cat and mouse in the front right here, though. And you see again, the 1 car on the bottom, he can't quite complete the pass on Juan Montoya. Same thing down here with our leaders. You just can't quite complete that pass when you're stuck on the bottom like that.
Well, I know what, with 4 to go, it looks like it's getting ready for one of these classic Texas finish here.
Well, it's not the OK Corral, but it's pretty close.
Denny Hamlin in the midst of that battle for 7th as well. Here comes Burton again. He's really going to have to get aggressive to draw even with Kenseth.
Yeah, but Kenseth got up the hill a little too far, but he's able to pull it down and come off ahead of Burton.
3 to go, 3 to go.
I tell you, you got to be careful not get up there too high.
I think Kim Burton, she's forgot about keeping up with laps. She knows there's 3 to go. Burton got a pretty good run there.
He got to the door.
Yeah, now this could be that he could make it this time.
He got to Kenseth's door, but couldn't draw fully alongside.
He could make it this time because he got enough run on him. It's going to take a pretty good effort right here for Kenseth to hold him down.
Might have to get a little physical here.
Nah, he's not going to do it.
Yes, he is.
They'll be side by side. 2 to go.
If he can inch up there like that, I'm telling you, he can get it done because that center of the corner right there, if he could just gas it up a little harder.
Darrell Hiss driving that thing down in the corner right now. Lap and a half to go, halfway down the back straightaway.
You heard how much he feathered the throttle to stay off of Kenseth.
You know, Burton's got to be thinking, how many times am I going to find myself in this position?
Oh, about twice more. That's how many laps to go. Lap and a half. Burton the leader here. Kenseth has the drive off the corner. And at the white flag, it's Kenseth. 1 lap to go.
This is it, boys. Can he do it? Burton on the inside. Kenseth on the outside. Burton,
that's as far as he's been. That's as far as he's been.
He got him.
He got him.
He got him. Clear.
He got him off the 2.
Buddy, bring it home.
Bring her home. He got him now. Kenseth got into this up a little too high off a 2.
Be smooth, man. Be smooth. He's going to get a run off. It's all yours. Bring it home.
Jeff Burton comes off the corner. Jeff Burton, the first repeat winner in Texas Motor Speedway. Winning the Samsung 500 after a fierce duel with former teammate Matt Kenseth.
And Jamie McMurray got his teammate Greg Biffle there at the line to finish 5th.
By an inch. I couldn't believe it. He just barely slipped by him. That's a great job on Burton. Ought to just be absolutely elated.
Good.
Well, he and Kenseth both. Kenseth for trusting that car when he thought he had a problem, and he about drove the wheels off it trying to hold Jeff Burton at bay.
Well, you know what, boys? Jeff Burton's teammate yesterday morning, Clint Boyer, told the 3 of us, my teammate is driving as hard as he can every lap. Not that I doubted it, but I'm a believer now.
I guarantee you. And you know what? It just goes back to, I think about Bristol and how clean he drove against Kyle Busch at Bristol.
Man, thank you guys for giving me good equipment.
Same thing today. Clean race, got it done. You know, he just was honored here the other night for the Sportsman of the Year award, and he deserves it.
He raced Matt Kenseth cleanly and is going to bring the Prilosec car to victory lane.
Hey, way to go, Moneymaker.
We'll need some Prilosec after that.
Chevrolet congratulates Chevy driver Jeff Burton, winner of today's race from Chevy, an American Revolution. For Burton, first win since Dover in September, and his very first win, as we've told you earlier, came in April 1997 right here in the inaugural race.
And you know who he beat to win that race at Dover? Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth.
There's the winning pass. Jeff Burton will head to victory lane. Welcome back to Texas, where 200,000 people have watched Jeff Burton score his 19th career Nextel Cup win and his second for car owner Richard Childress. Chris Devota's in victory lane.
The streak has ended. Our first multiple winner at Texas Motor Speedway. And the guy who won the very first race here, the inaugural race, is the one to do it. It's a new streak now starting for Jeff Burton. As he climbs down from his number 31, what a classic battle there between you and one of your former teammates, Matt Kenseth. Can you talk about that finish?
Matt's a hell of a driver. We were quite a bit faster than he was, and you know, he held me off for 15 laps or whatever. I mean, that's just how good he is. My guys did a great job all day. We were really good on long runs. We get beat up on short runs, and we got just what we needed. We got a long run, and it worked out for us.
You've been so consistent all year, but you haven't been to victory lane. Obviously, a great feeling for your team. Does this assign, too, that you guys obviously a championship contender even this early in the season?
Well, it's a long year and a long way to go, and certainly we've done a nice job to this point, but there's a lot of work ahead of us, and you know, we got to go to work again next week. This is a long year, but I'll go to battle with this team and, you know, take my best shot with it.
He's going to take his best shot. As we said, he won the very first race. He gets a congratulatory kiss. He has now won the most recent at Texas. Mike Joy.
Jeff Burton led one lap today, the money lap.
That's amazing. And that's what I love about our sport. You know, you got guys that lead a lot of laps and guys that run up front. But these two guys here at the end, Burton and Kenseth, they put on the show and they went home with the check.
Just a couple of notables. Mark Martin finishes third. He's picked up right where he left off before taking those 2 weeks off. Jamie McMurray gets his first top 5 in a while. And you mentioned it before the race was over. David Stremme gets his first career top 10 finish by finishing 10th.
Yeah, Kurt Busch got back to 11th. And, of course, Brian Vickers in the Toyota, he's 14th. That was a good job on those guys' part.
And a tough day for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and others who ended up in the garage area and way deep in the points today. Matt Yoakum is with today's runner-up.
Shades of a great battle from Dover 1 year ago between Burton and Kenseth. Let's talk about the last lap. Sum it up from your side as far as him making your move, you trying to make your move as well.
Well, it stunk from my vantage point, but yeah, Jeff's a great friend of mine. He did a great job. You know, there's nobody more deserving than him, but it's painful losing on the last lap, but we really didn't have a car that could contend all day, and you know, through hard work, adjustments, great pit stops by these guys, they gave me a shot to win, and that's all I can ask for. I hate I lost it for them, but if I had to go do it again, I would have got beat the same way. I couldn't have done anything more except for wreck. So we got into one, and he just backed the corner up like he needed to and got to the throttle early, and I got to the gas at the same time, but I started pushing, started spinning, and I almost took the wall down off it too, so I just couldn't get it done.
Still a great weekend for Matt Kenseth, a first and a second here in Texas.
Well, Jeff Gordon talking to Steve Letarte, his crew chief, and Jeff, it wasn't a win, but my gosh, you guys battled all day.
We did. You know, I'm really proud of this DuPont Chevrolet team because they've just been bringing awesome race cars to the track. They're an awesome team, and they proved that, you know, again today. But man, I'm just sick. You know, I don't want to give races away, and felt like we had the car to beat there. And you know, I was getting a little bit tight. Just come off of turn 4, and the thing just went right in the wall. I mean, I had been, you know, running closer, but it just took off for no reason. So hey, I still take the credit for it. You know, we should have won this race. Another Texas race getting away from us, and we don't get opportunities at this place very often. So still, all in all, a good day to finish where we did. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, third today, second, 2/5 and a 10th. What a year so far. Is this cars, driver, pit crew? What is it?
Man, it's a crew. I just want to, man, I'd love to have won that for our soldiers out there, everybody that's defending this country all over the world, and we really appreciate them. This team is awesome. They're the best I've ever worked with. I love these guys, and the car was good. Closer we got to the front, the better it got. They made it better. About halfway through the race, we stopped adjusting on it and just, you know, just made it go. Guys, I love working with these guys, man. They're just the best.
Well, they love working with their driver, too, because when he got out of the car, the crew just threw their arms around him and gave their driver a big hug, and you deserved it, my friend.
Thanks, Dick. A lot of years of racing right there. Mark Martin seems happier in semi-retirement. Good finish for him as Jeff Burton. Look at our top 10 unofficial results. Juan Pablo Montoya, the rookie, finishing 8th, but having a big effect. That wreck with Tony Stewart, and then later the way it affected Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Kyle Busch when he was spinning. So after 7 races of 36, Jeff Gordon maintains the points lead. Chase for the Nextel Cup at Jeff Burton with the win today, closing fast.
Well, you take a look at guys like Denny Hamlin right now in 5th place in the points. That team rallied back from being a lap down most of the afternoon to get a top 10 finish and keep that 5th place position.
The Rick Hendrick racing streak snapped to Hendrick Motorsports at 4. Richard Childress Racing with Jeff Burton winning this race today. But Chevrolet, they've won the last 5 races. They are clearly dominating this season.
They're definitely dominating this season. And the key thing is right now they still got that R07 engine that is still just kind of like in its infancy. So I think they're going to get stronger as the year goes on. I think NASCAR may have to take a look at that.
All right, don't forget next Saturday, it's Rivalry Day. Baseball, a big day on Fox Sports. It starts with Major League Baseball, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Yankees, Red Sox, or Cubs, Cardinals, and the rivalry goes to the racetrack that night from Phoenix at 8 o'clock Eastern, as we will bring you that race. Remember, Kurt Busch, who led today for a while. Remember, he had a run-in with the law when he was in Phoenix. The sheriff there, they made Kurt an honorary deputy. And
hey,
so,
if you can't beat him, join him.
And the sheriff is going to be in the pace car next week for that race that you'll see 8 o'clock Eastern. Speaking of who's in which car, how about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in for the 5-car ride at the end of the race?
Yeah, well, that's not unusual. Sometimes when drivers get, you know, heat stroke or just get a little fatigued, they'll go and get another driver, and it looks like Kyle left the racetrack, so he got in there and helped his buddy out.
A season of dramatic finishes, oh so close on Fox so far. What will it be next weekend? Tune in and find out. Don't forget the action drama series Drive later tonight on Fox. It's Prison Break on wheels. For Jeff Hammond and our entire crew, Jeff Burton, the man in Texas. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.